you have to acknowledge that's rich.
We're on YouTube, too. I threw the YouTube channel up during this break.
Whoa!
Hey.
Well, the reason being is I'm going to try to work a little harder today.
Making a conscious decision, are you?
Yeah. Well, I'm not doing anything anymore. I got Philly doing the podcast. You're booking the show. Today was the day one. I really, about the time that you start today was the day when I'm going, oh, crap, I got to get 3 stories for this stupid thing at the end. I do those and call it a day.
You know, I was thinking I literally was thinking this morning, Mark's got more time. He can really get fancy with that good, bad, and ugly. Tell you what, we're going to have to bring the music back.
Well, we'll see. We'll see.
I do think it was better with the music.
I do too.
But it's that whole YouTube thing, right?
Well, we did it before and never really ran into a problem with that. I don't know.
Okay.
Love seeing Stevie NFL say, let's talk about NBA.
Steve in Florida, not Stevie NFL.
Oh, man. That's
right there. That's 2 minutes.
2 minutes.
That's true, Arch. He is working Twitter pretty hard.
Welcome back to Miller and Moulton, only on the Florida Sports Network.
$18 minutes past the hour. Thanks so much for being with us, Miller and Moulton, Florida Sports Network, the Florida Sports Network. There's many different ways to take us in. We're very appreciative of those who listen on the radio in the Tampa, St. Pete, and Fort Myers, Naples areas. A week from now, we're expected to be in Lake City. Rumors even about Port Charlotte, Sarasota. We'll keep you updated on that. But you can also watch us every morning, the Miller and Moulton Twitch.tv channel. Podcast every show, millerandmoulton.com. I mean, put it this way, we're out there. You can find us. You miss any part of the show, you can take us in. Mark, I got a special announcement.
Whoa.
Yes.
Like a special announcement?
Yes. Like Tuesday night, tune in to a very special Blossom announcement.
This week on an all-new, very special Blossom.
Tuesday night, 8:30 on NBC.
At 8:45, the replay of that same Blossom.
So it was a week ago today, I believe it was. Maybe it was a week ago yesterday. I don't know. The days all run together. But Bud Elliott, our guy, joined us.
Yeah.
And wife very pregnant. In
right.
Fact, he warned us at the beginning of the segment a week ago. He goes, listen, I could get the tap on the shoulder and the call to the bullpen at any moment, just so you guys know. We're like, no problem. So I text him 2 days ago. Any news? He says, nope. Huh. So I text him around dinner time. I just get to the hotel last night, and I say, hey, we've got you tentatively booked for 7:35 Thursday. Is that going to work? He goes, could be tough. I didn't bring my equipment with me to the hospital. And I go, Bud, come on. Okay, you could have a week off to have a baby. He goes, well, we just had it. Apparently, I was texting to Bud like 24 minutes after Hudson Elliott was born at a robust 8 pounds, 4 ounces.
Oh, congratulations to the Elliott family. And what in the hell was he doing texting you back 24 minutes after his child was born?
That's what I said.
My only guess is at that point, he's texting family and people and letting everyone know. And all of a sudden your text pop in and he's like, what the hell? I'll just answer it really quickly.
Right. I'm really happy.
And unfortunately, what he did not realize, David, is one text back to you is not the end of a conversation.
No.
You cannot end a texting conversation with David unless you put 2 very specific words in that conversation.
Meaning good night, goodbye,
Yeah.
blank,
Well,
blank
I
off.
was kind of going Ricky Gervais at the
Right.
Golden Globes, but that's just me.
Blank off. Is that what you were thinking? Got it. I have to make. You haven't sent me one of those in a while, so
No, I
that's
have,
good.
and I don't know if I've ever sent it to you, to be perfectly frank with you, but I'm just telling you that I know how I could end this thing.
So congratulations to the Elliots, their second child, Hudson. All right, he comes in at 8 pounds 4 ounces. So I text back, I hope this wasn't disrespectful. I said, he's a chunk.
Yeah.
All right. And Bud said, darn right he is.
Yeah, I mean, I'll tell you what, Bud, I'm looking at the 24/7 chart and the class of 2039, and I see him listed as the number 14 defensive lineman right now, based on expectations.
I mean, we'll see whether or not he's going to play inside or outside, but so congratulations to Bud and his wife and the ever-expanding family. And needless to say, Bud will not be joining us today.
What?
But yes, I mean, we drive a hard deal on this show. I mean, since we pay our guests so much money, and we said, you know what? How about we talk next Thursday after early signing day? And Mark, this may be the last one too. Did you hear what Mark Emmert and Bob Bowlesby had to say?
Two people who, quite frankly, have zero credibility in the college sports world. One's the president of the NCAA. I don't need to explain how little credibility he has. The other is the commissioner of the Big 12 conference. And when you go for the crux of what's going on in college football, the conference you don't go to is anyone from the Big 12. But you're right, David, and we've been talking about this loosely for about a week. With all of the coaches and all of this big swell of college football news in the last 7 to 10 days, and even going back to Ed Orgeron getting fired. It really started then because people wondered, why are they firing a coach in college this early? This is unusual. If you aren't in the college football game. And it came out, well, there's this early signing period. And we're afraid that if we don't get our new coach in line, we're not going to get any recruits on December the 15th. Well, that's going to happen. I mean, because this was done, specifically done, so that the kids could get the recruiters off their back, so that the kid could make a decision in December and have Christmas with his family and not have to worry about every single coach calling him constantly until, what was it, February what, David, was the
It was the first Wednesday in February, whatever date that was. So it could be as early as February 1st, and it could be as late as February 7th.
So there you have it. We moved it a whopping 40 days, 50 days to benefit who? The athlete. Well, that's not worked out for the colleges and the coaches, and they've had to fork out a lot of money to pay people off to get them out of their schools so they can bring in the right coach. And God forbid we do that. So what are we going to do? We're going to stick it to the kids and take this early signing period away from them. Okay,
Yes.
well, makes perfect sense.
Well, yes. Once again, okay, the adults have created a system that is too messy for the adults. And so they're going to change said system by penalizing the kids.
Because when NIL came into it, it was going to be the wild, wild west. Or, I'm sorry, that's not right. When the early signing period, no, that's not right. When we start firing every coach under the sun, it's going to become the wild, wild west. And when boosters start forking out 8 digits to keep coaches, it's going to become the wild, wild west. This has nothing to do with the kids, and they're going to stick it to the kids once again. Mark Emmert, you, sir, are a big, gigantic ass.
Well, listen.
No, he is, David. I find him to be a horrible human being. I don't think he's ever done anything that has benefited the people he is supposed to benefit. He doesn't give a damn about one student athlete and never has.
Mark, come on. He was the president of a university. Of course he cares about the students.
Just their checks. All university presidents care about. Do the checks cash? I love those kids. Biggest hypocrites on the planet.
Mark Emmert has as much say in big-time Division I college football as Miller and Moulton. I mean, that is the reality. He is an outsider. He might as well have a podcast, do a show. In fact, I may reach out and see if he wants to do a regular segment on this show. Because he does have the time, goodness knows. And that's how much impact he truly has on big-time Division I football. The rest of the sports, no, he's got a real voice. No, he does.
But see, David, this is why he's an ass. Is you're right in what you're saying, and yet he speaks as if he's in charge.
Well, he was at a conference, Q&A with the audience. He answered some questions. That's how these things start.
When you don't have any say, David, he could easily say, well, I think it's a terrible idea. We did this to benefit the athletes, and I don't know why they'd want to do this. There's a lot of things he actually could say, David, and he chooses not to do any of it. He chooses to firmly bury his head in the sand and think that he's done an amazing job in his tenure when there's not 5 people that work outside of that office, that, including his family, that would agree with that statement.
What I would say, if I was in the room with Mr. Bowlesby and if Emmert was actually allowed in the room, is I would go, listen, before we do anything, can we answer this question? Do we think what has just transpired, which is 1 out of every 5 Power 5 jobs becoming available, 1 out of every 5, do we think that that's going to be the norm? Or are we about to overreact to a wild coaching carousel? That this is not going to be the norm. Instead of 12, 13 Power 5 jobs opening up every year, that the average is going to be around a half a dozen. But this year, it just happened to be double that.
And not just double that, David. Double that, including some of the most prestigious college football programs in the country, which brought so much attention to the sport. And I actually remember what I balked on a couple of days ago on Rich Eisen show when Desmond Howard's getting interviewed and they're going to the Kumbaya about Michigan, and they brought this up. Desmond didn't even know when the signing period was. You're on the #1 college football show in the country and you're not aware of when signing day is? Yeah. Come on. I get not following recruiting, David. I get it. No. I don't follow recruiting. That's why we bring Bud on. I don't have time. I don't care. I mean, I'll look up the rankings, but I'm not going to break down. You and I don't know the difference between the kid in Pahokee and the kid in Immokalee versus the kid in Plant City. It doesn't matter to us. That's why we read reports and trust people, but we know when the dates are. I mean, he is on College Game Day after all. You would think maybe he'd have a clue when these dates are.
You would have thought he would have overheard it.
Yeah, I'm not sure really when this early signing period is. What? But so when you add this, and people weren't, apparently people in the sport aren't even aware when the dates are. But I think part of it, and more importantly, David, were the jobs that were open. You could have 10 jobs open every year. If they're Indiana, Kansas, Texas Tech, Colorado, no one cares. But it was Notre Dame, LSU, Florida, USC. I mean,
Oklahoma.
Kind of a couple of big jobs.
Miami. Right. Yeah, some high-profile gigs here.
I mean, we've made our jokes. We go back to the 1972 preseason top 10. These teams were all on it then.
Yeah, half of them were at least, right. So, but that I think is an important question. And we don't know. You think, I'm going to answer it this way, and we could obviously be wrong. But we see it in the other major sports as well. Some years the NFL coaching carousel is nuts. And some years it's 3. And some years it's 8. Mark, you and I follow hockey. Hell, they've already fired 3 head coaches in the NHL. The season is 2 months old. 10% of the league's been gassed.
And trust me, they're not done yet.
No. Please. The over-under between now and the All-Star break's 1.5. I mean, come on. So that, I think, is an important question for them to answer. Whether or not they'll even see that as the question to answer, well, who knows? I would like to think, early signing period, NIL, transfer portal, all on top of one another, basically within a 24-month span. I really would wish that they would sit back for 5 years and just let it play out.
Well, David, the problem with that is, and you are as aware, if not more aware than anybody, of the major problem. Who's that person that runs college football? Oh, yeah, there isn't one. If there were ever a time that the 5 families needed to sit down and put someone in charge, David, actually right now is the time. Whatever they're going to do, it would be nice. And I don't know if you would like this. What if they win a little more NFL? That the transfer portal was open from January 1 to January 31st. And I'm just throwing dates out there. But as opposed to where it just seems to be to infinity, that there was actually a start and a finish to some of this. Would that make more sense?
I think it would just make it more orderly.
That's all.
And if that'll make people feel better, okay. But, Mark, I would just throw this out there. Are we sure Greg Sankey's not the Michael Corleone of college sports right now? That there are other crime families, but let's be honest, nothing's getting done without Michael.
Oh,
is
there's
anything
no doubt.
getting done without Greg?
No, there's no doubt. There's absolutely no doubt. The problem is that I see, a couple of the other families wanting to whack Corleone here.
Well, there's no doubt. There's
And
no
when
doubt.
the Lions,
There's no doubt.
Bruno Tattaglia,
Right.
and
Mark, there's no doubt Greg Sankey sits with his back up against the wall. There's no doubt about it.
You're damn
he
right.
Sees everyone coming towards him.
I'll mix all three. There's an Eric Clapton song playing right after a Journey song, and he doesn't know what's coming next. I'm just telling you.
Miller and Moulton, the starting 5 is coming next here on the Florida Sports Network.
It's been a great start to the NFL season, and it's only getting better at DraftKings, the official daily fantasy partner of the NFL. DraftKings is putting new customers in the center of the action with a free shot at millions of dollars in total prizes. Get in on the action now. It's simple. Just pick your lineup, stay under the salary cap, and see how your team stacks up against the competition. Feel the NFL action like never before with a free shot at millions of dollars in total prizes. DraftKings is safe, secure, and reliable. And the best part is you can deposit and withdraw your cash whenever you want. Download the DraftKings app now and use code M&M. This week, new customers can get a free shot at millions of dollars in total prizes. Enter code M&M to get a free shot at millions in total prizes with your first deposit. That's code M&M, only at DraftKings, the official daily fantasy partner of the NFL. Minimum $5 deposit required. Eligibility restrictions apply. See DraftKings.com for details.
You were listening to Miller and Moulton on the Florida Sports Network. Arch, that's reasonably funny there. That is a nice Southwest Florida reference. Just for personal experience, and I know where you're at, Arch, and I like it. I think I would say FBS has the same chance as if HOAs combining and working as one, but I see where you're. And go Raiders, I'm a little pissed at myself because the fact that I only could come up with the Tattaglia family pissed me right off. I wanted to have all of them right there. I didn't know who I was going to make Hyman Roth. I would probably make, go Pac-12 there.
By the way, Mark, also CJ McCollum's lung just collapsed, so
Right.
he's probably
No, I know. But I just but the whole thing, they got that the GM who apparently was just a horrific person.
Yeah.
And they gassed him. And the whole stories I was seeing that when that happened, Lillard kind of was almost, in the owner's ear saying, "Get me Ben Simmons." And I thought that was going to happen.
You really have to commend Lillard though for staying because the Blazers it's kind of like the Cavs with LeBron. They just haven't been able to give him what he needs. They didn't re-sign LaMarcus Aldridge. He went
No.
to San Antonio, you know.
No, and they were close.
Yeah.
Pretty tough in the West when you can't get it.
Also, they had the pleasure of facing the Warriors in the playoffs like 3 times.
Right.
Good luck with that.
They got that new building, which is really nice.
The Moda Center.
Yeah.
Now, no disrespect to Clyde the Glide, but I think Dame is the greatest Blazer. Oh, no, Bill Walton.
No.
Well,
No,
Walton didn't play that long.
Played such a short time there before he was hurt.
Yeah, but he brought the banner.
No, but it's not. Doesn't make him the greatest player. I think it's Clyde.
Really?
Yeah, he's a pretty special player.
But Dame Lillard. Dame.
Yeah, but Clyde was a top 5 player in the league when he played. Do you think Dame's a top 5 player in the league?
I mean,
Yeah.
He's been first team All NBA a couple times.
Yeah, but I don't. I mean, look at his position. Who's better than him in the game right now?
But that's the thing.
Well, no, I'm just saying. Clyde had one guy. I mean, Clyde got it because Jordan was better than he was. But I don't know, David.
But the point guard position is the strongest position by far.
So was the shooting guard when. So was that small forward.
More than the center position?
As much because he played in the Jordan era. He was drafted in the same draft.
So many.
Or right. Not same draft, the year before, right? Was Clyde the year before, 2 years before, Michael?
Drexler was the year before.
Year before. That's why they took Bowie.
So, Philly, I'll just throw this out at you. Is Drexler on the All-75 team, the Diamond team?
Yes.
Is Lillard?
No. Wait,
The
is he?
defense.
No, I think Lillard didn't make it.
I don't know.
I think he
Just
did.
asking. I don't think he did. But that would be a good place to start.
Well, his career is also not over.
Correct.
Yeah, but that's okay. They put Shaq on the All-50 team. He played 3 years.
Yeah, he's on it.
Yeah, he's on it.
Lillard's on it. So there you go. I mean, that's a
They're-
good place
they're
to start right
they're
there.
Very I think it's a really good comparison. I don't think I'm not going to jump up and down the table and tell you you're wrong. You know what I mean? Like I don't know.
Again,
And it's through no fault of Lillard. Blazers fans may say, hey, Clyde did take us to the finals twice. And listen, you had to go through the Lakers.
Yeah,
And
they
he
had to go
took-
through, they had to go through the Lakers. And
he
I don't give a damn about Steph. This is the
Oh.
Lakers with Magic, Kareem.
I understand.
This is the greatest Laker
Worthy.
team that ever played.
The
No.
Showtime
This
Lakers.
is the greatest Laker team that ever played.
Yes, the Showtime Lakers.
Yeah.
I understand that.
Bob McAdoo, who's on the list there, I think, of all 75, comes off the bench.
I understand that, but
No.
But when they went to the finals, that was the late 80s. So Kareem was gone.
No, he wasn't.
James Worthy was broken pretty much. And Magic Johnson probably had HIV.
No, he didn't.
No, not the first time.
Okay, no, the first time they made it was like 88. So maybe not.
Well, no,
They won
they
88,
made it.
89.
They made it in 90 and 92 is when the Blazers went to the finals.
Oh yeah, 88 was Pistons Lakers. What am I talking about? All right, we're coming back.
Thanks for listening. And now, more of Miller and Moulton on the Florida Sports Network.
20 minutes before the hour. Top of the morning to you. How the heck are you on this Thursday, December 9th edition of Miller and Moulton on the Florida Sports Network, the Florida Sports Network. I come at you from Minneapolis, the site of Thursday Night Football. Vikings, 3-point favorites against the Steelers, a must-win for both. Both are out of the playoffs if the playoffs were starting this weekend. The Steelers by a half a game, the Vikings by a game. Right now it is time for
The Starting Five. 5 stories you need to know. It's the Starting Five on Miller and Moulton. Here's number 1.
8:20 kickoff tonight. 6-5-1, an underdog at 5-7. over under of 43.5. Place your bets accordingly.
And David, one of my favorite things that the NFL on CBS's Twitter account has been putting out is how the Lions make the playoffs. If you're a Lions fan, you're rooting for the Steelers tonight.
Really?
They did it last week, David. They literally said, how do you get in? And they had it. Now they've got it again. They've identified a path. They have every game, basically, that has to happen a certain way for the Lions to run the table and get in at 6-10-1.
Jeff in Iowa in our Twitch chat room did take a little bit of glee in pointing out that the Lions are 1-1-1 against these two teams tonight.
Yes. Mm-hmm.
Other NFL news from yesterday. You know what? Trevor Lawrence took over the Jags yesterday. And I'm not being a wise ass. Pardon my French. All right. Trevor Lawrence became the franchise quarterback of the Jacksonville Jaguars yesterday. There's been a little controversy in Jacksonville. Their best offensive player, not named Trevor Lawrence, is James Robinson, the running back. And in the last two games, there have been long stretches where James Robinson has not been on the field. And when Robinson was asked about it, he was like, yeah, I have no idea what's going on. Are you healthy? If I'm in uniform, I'm healthy enough to play. And, Urban at one point said it was injuries, so that's why Robinson was asked that question. Then Urban kind of pawned it off on his running backs coach. But there's been a 16-play and a 20-play stretch in their last two games where he hasn't been on the field. So this is more than we're going to spell the number one back and give him a series off. I mean, this has been over a quarter of football each time. Yeah, Trevor Lawrence publicly came out yesterday and said, yeah, I went to all the offensive coaches yesterday and said James Robinson needs to be on the field as much as humanly possible. I don't know what's going on, but this has to stop. Trevor Lawrence is now officially the franchise quarterback of the Jacksonville Jaguars.
There's a lot to the quotes, and I love that he says he's one of the best players, but I just like the end of it. I think we're all on the same page, so there's no confusion there. We're going to move forward. I know James is a hell of a player, so I want him out there. We're all on the same page means I'm the franchise quarterback, and I've just told all your asses that he's going to start playing. I'm going to the owner. I'm getting everybody fired. I don't know what you want me. You want me to mince words, but I need a running back. Damn it!
I don't know if he said all that because I don't know if he has to say all that.
That's what that sentence says to me.
That's just one of those in which you walk in the room and everybody in the room realizes that guy is going to probably be in this room longer than all of us.
And I'll tell you what, there had to be a moment where Urban had a reckoning with himself, David. Because think about it. Urban's never been in that position where basically a player could walk in and say, yeah, he needs to play and he needs to play now. And if you don't do something about it, I can get your ass fired.
Well, we don't know that Trevor did that.
David, I know he didn't say that. But Urban has to know this is not Columbus. This is not Gainesville. This is not Provo or wherever the hell the University of Utah is. But I'm serious. Come on.
I understand. Listen,
Urban's never had that. He's a college coach. He dictates everything.
Although the one time that he had it, and I got to move on to get all this in, but the one time that he had it, remember, Mark, in 2015, they lost to your Michigan State team, and Zeke only carried the ball 4 times, and they lost by a field goal. And after the game, Zeke was asked, and he goes, I have no idea. Ask the coaches. Why in the world would you not give me the ball? And big controversy. Star running back speaking out against his coaches. Yeah, they played Michigan like a week or two later. He carried it 30-plus times and rushed for over 200 yards. I think Urban read the quote and said, kid makes a dadgum good point.
Well, yeah, that's also where you got Urban eating the Papa John's pizza. I mean, it was not a good look that week. But again, ask the coach, and you got more stories to do, but we're all on the same page. When the quarterback says we're all on the same page, Urban's got to read that and go, God, I hate that. Is that Florida job open?
Las Vegas, the Raiders gave 4-year contract extensions to both their punter and kicker. So there is that. The Texans cut who was, I think, their biggest free agent signing in the offseason. Linebacker Zach Cunningham. He was a second-round pick just in 2017. He apparently has a tardiness problem, Mark. He was suspended twice this year for being late, and so they just cut him. And it's going to cost them a little bit of money under next year's cap, too. But I'll give the rookie head coach, who's not a rookie, he's in his mid-60s, but it's his first head coaching job, David Culley. He was asked, was this a hard decision? He goes, no, not at all. Good for him. The overhaul at the University of Miami athletic department seems complete. Dan Radakovich, later today, expected to be named their new AD. He's been at Clemson since 2012. He's 63. He got his master's at the University of Miami. He began his sports career at the University of Miami during the season in which they won their first football national championship. So Marco and Dano running the show in Miami.
Book him, Dano.
Mark Whipple, now we know why he suddenly quit Pitt. He went to be the offense coordinator at Nebraska.
And
that's
it's
interesting.
Just in. They need one.
Well, yes, but that's interesting, though, because that looks like that could be a one-and-done job. And the Pitt job looked like he could stay there for a few more years.
I mean, I think Pat Narduzzi, particularly with this year, David, he's not going to be a candidate. I don't think Narduzzi's a candidate for a big job. I don't think he's thought of that highly anymore. There was a time that he was. So I think he's at Pitt for a while.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I don't want to say they're not taking this Lincoln Riley thing well in Oklahoma, but there's a state senator by the name of Bill Coleman who actually put forward a bill yesterday in which what is deemed to be the most remote highway in Oklahoma that crosses the border into another state is Highway 325. He wants to rename a 3-inch stretch of the highway, the last 3 inches of the highway that are in Oklahoma as the highway heads west to another state. He wants to rename that stretch of highway the Lincoln Riley Highway. He has said he will pay for the signage. Wow.
Whatever. This is
dude.
Lighten up, Francis. You're a clown, okay? You are a clown, sir. You're wasting your time, our time, and everyone in your state's time with this. Shut up and do your job. There's got to be something more effective that you can do with your time than this.
Well, you would think, but that would take real work.
No, no one wants to do that.
The Big 12 commissioner, Mr. Bowlesby, did publicly say yesterday that we're starting to reconsider this early signing thing, and we may go back to first signing in February and then a later signing. After that.
Stretch it out so the coaches can recruit longer and kids. Oh, yeah, great idea. The only good news here is that the only person that has less say in college football than Bob Bowlesby is Mark Emmert.
Speaking of Mark Emmert, he says Congress needs to get involved with NIL. There needs to be federal legislation.
Because why? I mean, I've had 2-3 years to do this myself, but you know what? I really don't want to.
Well, and not only that, Congress is just putting forth one good bill after another these days. So.
Well, the only thing we like less than the NCAA is Congress, David.
College hoops. Mark said, take the Gators and lay the 26.5 against UNF, and he was right. They beat the Ospreys by 30 last night. West Virginia, in a mild upset, beat 15th-ranked UConn by 3. Other in-state scores, Miami beat Lipscomb by 17, and FAU was 21 better than Palm Beach Atlantic. NBA last night, good win for the Heat. No Jimmy Butler. Adebayo's out 6 to 8 more weeks with his thumb injury. They beat the Bucs 113-104. Caleb Martin got the start and scored 28.
Couldn't miss. I think it's 6 threes in the third quarter or something like that. If I've got that right there, Philly, is that sound right to you?
Yes, sir.
How about that? Watched a little Heat last night,
How about
David.
that?
I locked in early second quarter.
Sorry to hear that. Orlando lost by 12 in Sacramento, 142-130.
I didn't watch that, David. I mean, it's not like I was watching Sacramento and Orlando.
Magic's dropped to 5-21 on the season. Hockey, Colorado snapped the Rangers' 7-game winning streak 7-3. And Mark, this is both sides of firing your coaches. In Vancouver, they blew out everybody. Bruce Boudreau's come in. He's won his first 2 starts. They beat Boston in a shootout yesterday 2-1. Meanwhile, in Philadelphia, they fired the coach after an 8-game losing streak. That losing streak's now 10. They got shut out by the Devils last night 3-0. So sometimes it works, and sometimes it doesn't.
Their lack of offense is only outdone by their lack of defense, because they're
right
3 to 7 a night.
Yes, they are. Yes, they are. And finally, we were talking about, hey, what if they allowed Tiger Woods to play with a cart? Now, we were thinking about it for like PGA tournaments and the Masters and major championships that can set their own rules. Well, one of those events that sets their own rules is what used to be called the father-son, but now they've opened it up to more family members. So it's the PNC Championship. Tiger, remember, a year ago, played in it with his then 11-year-old son. I believe it's Sammy. All right. Charlie, I'm sorry. Sammy's the daughter. And then this year, he announced yesterday, you know what? I get to use a cart, right? It's 36 holes. All right. Besides, we get to play with his tees, his tee ball off his tees. We're out farther than everybody. We nearly won this sucker last year.
Well, it was the tournament in which we watched the 2 of them on the range hitting balls, and Charlie was mini me. I mean, it was scary. 2 of them in their red and black outfits in the swing looked like a miniature tiger. It was absolutely fantastic.
The twirl, they leaned on the driver and the putter the same way. The mannerisms, yes, awesome. Spitting image. Nelly Corda is going to play in it with her dad, Peter. Lee Trevino has played in this event every single year since it was first founded back in 1995. It's in Orlando. It's 36 holes. It's next week, and Tiger will play. This, by the way, they have a limit as to how many fans that are allowed to attend this. They want to keep it intimate. And it was basically sold out without Tiger, but now needless to say, whatever the limit is,
now the secondary market's juicy.
Well, that is true. And that was
the starting 5 every weekday morning at this time on Miller and Moulton.
I know the Cristobal news is bigger. I get it. The getting Dan Radakovich to me is a great get. This is a pro. He did a good job at Georgia Tech. He did a great job at Clemson. He really wants this job. He understands it. It's a great week for the University of Miami.
100%. We will hope that the week is great for us the rest of the way, and we think it will be. Ray Fittipaldo next hour, Roy Cummings and Pat Reusse in the 8 o'clock hour, and Curt Menefee at 9 o'clock right here on the Florida Sports Network.
Bring your big mouth to John Smith Subs and indulge in their overstuffed subs with the freshest quality ingredients. Enjoy our famous steak bomb with perfectly grilled marinated sirloin steak topped with provolone cheese, grilled onions, peppers, mushrooms, crispy bacon, juicy tomatoes, and creamy mayo. Boom! Made-to-order crispy fries can be paired with the Gator, the Cuban, the Chicken Bomb, or the Italian. Love local. Eat delicious with John Smith Subs. Find a John Smith Subs location near you today.
The Firestone Grand Prix of St. Petersburg, presented by RP Funding, roars through the streets of beautiful downtown St. Petersburg, February 25th to the 27th. 3-day tickets are on sale now at gpstpete.com. It's fast, fun, family entertainment jam-packed into 3 days. The weekend is highlighted by the NTT IndyCar Series race taking the green flag on Sunday afternoon. It all happens at the Firestone Grand Prix of St. Petersburg, presented by RP Funding, February 25th to the 27th. Visit gpstpete.com now to secure the best.
It's been a great start to the NFL season, and it's only getting better at DraftKings, the official daily fantasy partner of the NFL. DraftKings is putting new customers in the center of the action with a free shot at millions of dollars in total prizes. Get in on the action now. It's simple. Just pick your lineup, stay under the salary cap, and see how your team stacks up against the competition. Feel the NFL action like never before with a free shot at millions of dollars in total prizes. DraftKings is safe, secure, and reliable. And the best part is you can deposit and withdraw your cash whenever you want. Download the DraftKings app now and use code M&M. This week, new customers can get a free shot at millions of dollars in total prizes. Enter code M&M to get a free shot at millions in total prizes with your first deposit. That's code M&M, only at DraftKings, the official daily fantasy partner of the NFL. Minimum $5 deposit required. Eligibility restrictions apply. See DraftKings.com for details.
You were listening to Miller and Moulton on the Florida Sports Network.
So I've been doing this new thing now where the second the last break of the hour comes, I try to time myself to see if I can cut the things or like the entire hour together and post it.
Well, and I'm going to show you too the other thing you can, because I'm going to start trying to do it. If I can, I'm going to see if you can pull it off, because we can put. Now that I added YouTube to the Twitch channel, when you edit the interviews, how I showed you, you can upload them right to YouTube.
Yeah. Also, have you seen those videos of like Charlie Woods and Tiger side by side, same exact? That's so awesome.
Ooh.
Someone asks me, you could go back in time anywhere, what would it be? Probably a finals game, Bird Magic, 80s. Just absolute chaos.
He's like my mother. No one asked him that question.
No,
he asked
about it in the Twitch chat.
He just asked himself the question and started answering it.
No, the Twitch
This
chat.
is what I deal with all the time.
He's talking about how it was like,
you know what you're going to be like at 70?
I'm going to just talk to myself. I'm going to talk to
That's what you're doing right now.
Yeah. But this guy, he's talking about how they were like Super Bowls, how big they were every time they'd play.
So did that person ask if you could come back at any point in time, or did you ask yourself that?
No, because he said like, no, earlier it was said, Klecko said, yes, glory days of the NBA. Lucky to experience Lakers Celtics.
I got all that. I read them too.
Yeah, okay.
Well, I read them when you're not typing 14 in a row that I can't see with the listeners.
Look away.
Billy, I love you. I really do.
Yeah,
You bring energy to both of us.
Doing what I can. 6:59.
Is this flipping? I can't believe it. Did you see this story about Brian Rowland, David?
I don't think so.
Brian Rowland is he's big time chef in this area. I think he's been another thing. He got trapped at the Ferrari dealership under a car elevator.
Whoa.
Yeah.
Whoa.
I mean, they had a candlelight vigil for the guy yesterday. I don't know if he's going to make it. He's a pretty popular.
Wait, he's not good. He's dead.
He's not dead yet. But it's terrible. I mean, the guy's like and he's younger dude. He can't be 40.
By the way, the Ferrari dealership in Naples, the new one?
My guess.
Oh my God.
Because there's not another one down here.
That's like a brand new building.
I know it is.
Oh, that's a lawsuit waiting to happen. That is going to be an ugly lawsuit too. Oh my God.
Klecko, that's really funny. That is really funny. No, the one up top. He can drive a Tesla, autopilot around course. That's funny.
Yeah.
I know funny. That's funny.
Game 4 was the baby hook. Put them up 3-1. But yeah, I'm with you.
Mike Descojonado Miller. Look it up.
I don't even know what you just said.
You are listening to Miller and Moulton, exclusively on the Florida Sports Network. And now here's Mark Miller and David Moulton.
Top of the morning to you. How the heck are you? We are Miller and Moulton. This is the Florida Sports Network. The Florida Sports Network coming at you live in Tampa, St. Pete, and Fort Myers, Naples. Next week, we'll expand into Lake City and the surrounding area. And waiting, just need an email or a phone call to make Port Charlotte / Sarasota official as well. Would like to get that done before January 1 as we get the ball rolling on this thing. We make it happen. More markets next year, an afternoon show one day. Bada bing, bada boom. You know how it is.
In the meantime, I'll just get to you with what's actually happening right now. We're Miller and Moulton. We're the only show that's on the Florida Sports Network. Here are the ways you can get in touch with us. If you would like to text the show, text FSN Radio. That is FSN Radio, all one word, to 21,000. Then you're in contact with us. You want to watch the show, you can watch it a multitude of ways. You can watch it on twitch.tv / Miller and Moulton and youtube.com / Miller and Moulton as well. It's up on our Facebook page. That, by the way, also Miller and Moulton.
Wow, YouTube and Facebook, huh?
Yeah, we got everything up there. But you know what? At some point, we're going to have an afternoon show.
Well, that's what I'm told.
Right.
Just, being optimistic. Just thinking ahead. It's the end of the year, Mark. I'm starting to look forward. I'm texting with my wife during the break. That's probably where it got me talking. And we're just talking about, our feelings about the future. And I, for whatever reason, and maybe it's because, man, the percentages are due to turn. I feel good about 2022. Maybe that should be our poll question. How are you feeling about 2022?
That's a great poll question. Love it.
Remember that game that we played like a week or so ago when you humored me? The segment called Yes, No, Maybe So.
Right.
2022. Yes, no, maybe so.
I think that's a great question. We'll probably get that one up right between Christmas and New Year's. I will say I'm glad that you're texting with your wife. That means that there's a good chance she's listening because she knows when the breaks are, because she has been brought up a couple of times on the text line.
What?
Yeah. Yesterday, we spent a decent amount of time because I asked Felipe yesterday what the biggest sports story out there that's not basketball. He answered me with the basketball answer. So we asked that question of everybody who listens to the show. And we got a bunch of people with different thoughts of what the biggest thing was. Because as you and I pointed out yesterday, we just it was an actual, for the first time in a while, it was one of those hump days where you had to kind of get over the hump sports-wise. There wasn't a ton of things going on. And that's been unusual in the last month. And we talked about, someone said in that the F1 series is tied. And you went on a diatribe about the F1 race in Miami. You and I have both really wanted to go to an F1 race. On our bucket list, F1 race is a lot higher than probably it is for 99% of the sports fans out there.
Agreed.
You've been lucky enough to do a ton of things, but F1, there's just a coolness about it.
Yes.
That I'd like to see. And you're the same way. That leads us to these texts because it's on Mother's Day weekend.
Right.
A couple of people just pointed out very quickly, it's the kid's job to take care of mom, not the husband. Another person says, hey, it's Mother's Day. Is she your mother? So, and lastly, I brought this up because, again, I've needed mom lately because my car's broken. I'm 52 and I've been borrowing my mother's car.
Hello.
I'm able to say that without getting in the fetal position today, David. So
it's okay.
We've improved.
It's okay.
Yesterday
was
was even more hell because mom needed her car. The daughter had a dentist appointment. So I'm running all over hell, dropping cars off, picking cars up. So I had to pick my wife up from work yesterday. And so she works 45 minutes from her house. So good God, traffic around Southwest Florida is awful. You poor people that have to drive every day, bless you. I mean, you're doing great. Stay calm, stay safe. Don't get mean. It's tough. I don't blame any of you, but wow.
And the people who drive I-4 every day are like, yeah, tell me about how tough it is between Fort Myers and Naples.
Hey, I've done the Tampa market driving. It's every bit as bad because we've got far less roads down here. We got the same traffic, the same snowbirds. We just have less roads. So again, all of you out in traffic. I drive a mile a day. This was like hell, but I brought it up to my wife about the race. She looked me dead in the eye and said, "Go, just take our daughter with you." She is now turned in with her hours into a guy from the standpoint of, can you just leave me alone all day on Mother's Day? That would be incredible.
Okay. All right.
You wish for it, it may happen. So my daughter and I are going to the F1 race if you want to come with us, David.
I didn't realize that your daughter was such an F1 fan.
You know what's scary? She loves auto racing. She loves racing. On her little tablet, she plays racing games. I can throw any NASCAR race on. She will sit down and watch it before she watches baseball, hockey, basketball, or football. She's got her guy. There's an M&M car, David.
That's
and
right.
If it's not an M&M car, it's a Skittles car.
Can't go wrong.
You
Power
really
of
can't.
marketing, baby.
And
Power of video games and marketing.
She knows who her brother's car is, so she can root for her car against his. Honest to goodness, I don't know. It certainly doesn't come from me, but it must have skipped a generation or two because, as you know, on my dad's side, huge racing fans going back a few generations. But, yep, the daughter and I are going to F1 if you want to come with us, David. Mother's Day.
I am fascinated by this. Who is allowed to get the day pass to go to the F1 race on Mother's Day? Okay. I don't even know if I'd broach the subject, to be honest with you.
I thought I just did for you. That was really the effort here. I was trying to get you to, because so your wife, and I know you travel a lot. See, there's a big difference between you and I, but by the time Mother's Day's come, she's had you pretty much every day, all day for 5 months.
Well, at least 3. So February, March, April. I mean, it is true. She's had a lot of me after being a football widow for 5 months.
So I'm just saying she might want a day by then. Like right now, it wouldn't sound like, what do you mean, honey? I want to spend all day with you. I don't ever get to see you. But 3 straight months of you, she may say, could you go to Miami for the day?
Listen, 3 straight months of anybody.
Exactly.
Okay, may want to go to Miami for the day. FSN Radio, all one word. Send it to 21,000 if you have never texted us before. FSN Radio to 21000. And then we get to see and hear what is on your mind. If you are watching on the Miller Moulton Twitch.tv channel, feel free to chime in the Twitch chat room. I once did a hypothetical. We were engaged, and I think was right around the time of Ripken's streak. And the hypothetical was if she was pregnant, first child, and I had this really long streak going. All right. Could I continue the streak and not be there for the birth of the child? And I, of course, was like, there's no way. You know, you gotta, it's a baseball game. You know, I know you've put years into the streak and what have you, but come on now. And she actually called in. It is the only time I think I've ever allowed her to call in and said, sure, put her on the air.
You can call in anytime when I'm here.
No.
Okay.
No.
He's not even in the studio. We can get you right on the air.
No.
Mondays,
Absolutely
Thursdays, and Fridays, whenever you want.
And she called in, and I said, sure, put her on. And she said, yeah, well, you know, at first I thought no, but, you know, you explained it and Ripken and the streak and all these years. And she's like, yeah, sure, go play the game. Just as soon as it's over, you got to race here to the hospital. I was shocked. I was absolutely shocked that that was her answer.
The best part is, and I know how much your wife loves sports, I think she's just assuming all those games were home games.
Well, yes.
You know what I mean?
Right.
Yeah, you can play the game. It's just down the
Sure.
road.
Just,
What if it's in Oakland?
Right. Well, just be here by 11. Right. Yeah. So every now and then there's this hypothetical, which isn't a hypothetical, in which the answer surprises you. And maybe the whole F1 race on Mother's Day, maybe, I'll work up the courage here. I don't think now's the time.
No.
I've been gone for a good 3 months. Damn,
No.
5 days a week for 3 months.
No, David, this ask has to be in a basket underneath 3 boxes of chocolates and 4 pounds of Starbucks coffee, David. This has to be done. I know she doesn't love presents, but this has to be done with a little charisma, David.
I think I have to wait till around Easter. 2 months of sucking up has gone by, and she's just now starting to get annoyed with me again. I think I need
start the process around Valentine's Day with your subtle charm.
Her birthday's in early April, so I was thinking maybe just wait till right after the birthday. If I nail the birthday, good stuff, good gifts, the whole deal, then say, hey, honey, So that's the plan. Hopefully she's not listening, because, honey, that's the game plan. That's when I'm coming at you. Miller and Moulton. Ray Fittipaldo covers the Steelers Thursday Night Football. Pittsburgh at Minnesota, a must for both. We'll talk to Ray coming up in 25 minutes here on the Florida Sports Network.
Mark Miller for Orange Whip Golf and Fitness Power Peel at Home Training System. This complete body and swing trainer uses resistant band connection system to fix bad habits and ingrain a more consistent, powerful swing. The Power Peel system is powered by functional golf swing training technology. It trains both your swing and body at the same time. Simply make a few prescribed resistant band connections, and in a few steps on the peel, you'll swing better, feel better, and play better. Use it before your round of warm-up, as your daily fitness routine, or anytime you want to feel and train the swing you've always wanted. Pair the Power Peel with the Orange Whip Golf and Fitness at Home training technology, available with a monthly membership, and maximize your results with Golf Fitness X coach-led programs that take less than 20 minutes a day. Buy the Power Peel training bundle now for 4 interest-free payments of $115 by going to orangewhipgolf.com and use code Miller10. That's code Miller10 to save $45. Go to orangewhipgolf.com and use code Miller10 to save $45 and play better golf. Go to orangewhipgolf.com. You are listening to Miller and Moulton on the Florida Sports Network.
I know you're joking.
No, I'm not joking.
What does that mean, though? What does that get you?
A media credential. Get you into the game.
For free. Just for being being part of the media. Period.
Correct.
What? That would work for me?
You are the producer of a show on the Florida Sports Network. I hate to break it to you.
That sounds impressive.
It's not, but it sounds really impressive.
I don't know about really, but it sounds
Well, you are
somewhat.
So you're going to go, obviously.
I want tickets, but if I don't get tickets, I'm going to have a press credential. Yes.
Oh.
Have you applied?
Doing it right now.
So you're going to put in for 2?
I only can put in for myself. I was going to do one for Jacob, but I may have Jeff get me a fake phone number.
That is going to be like one of the best Orange Bowls in a while.
Well, we'll see.
I am so mad. Oh my gosh.
I was just telling this guy here he should get one, but he's not going to be in town. Where are you going?
Colorado.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Park.
So are you a skier?
Yeah. Snowboarding's fun. I've done it a couple times in sled parks. But like I'd rather haul ass than fall on my ass all the time. And I just destroy moguls.
Wow. Have you always skied?
Yeah. Got good core strength.
Okay.
I mean, the post. See what happens.
I think I could take you down low and score
Oh
on you
my
at will.
God, Mark, let's do this. I will destroy you.
You probably will
I'm
destroy me,
too
but
long.
I'm telling you right now, I can own you in the post.
Mark, you can't.
I'm
guard
dirty.
Me. You can't guard me.
I didn't say that
Throw
I could.
Those elbows.
I didn't say that I could. I said I could. What did I say? I said I could score on you in the post. I didn't say I could beat you.
That's fine.
I didn't say I could stop you.
Throw all those elbows. I don't care. I played with grown men growing up.
I've played with grown men.
Yeah, my dad's friends.
Klecko, I mean, I think they finished third last year. Charlie's a better golfer this year. Tiger's not. They have a great advantage playing Charlie's ball off the tee.
So what is that tournament specifically?
It's a father-son made-for-TV event.
But so who's the father-son duo that beats Tiger and Charlie?
Oh,
Woods?
God, all of them. You know how many of these guys' kids play on tour? Like this event, there's guys that are playing with their kids who are playing college golf. I mean,
so
it's legit.
But so it's mainly PGA.
It's all PGA players.
Okay.
Now, Nelly Korda is playing, and she's playing with her dad, who was the pro tennis player, who's a really good amateur golfer. But
yeah. I mean, Nelly Korda is the number one player in the world, women, is playing with her dad, who was on the professional tennis tour for 20 years.
That's really cool.
Peter Korda was a Czechoslovakian tennis great. His twin daughters are both unbelievable golfers on the tour, and his son's on the tennis tour, right, David?
Yeah. And won, I thought, 2 matches at Wimbledon this year.
That's cool.
Yeah, Korda won the Australian back in his day.
They probably step in and 3 minutes later are winded. All I know is no one in the Twitch chat can guard me. $15 seconds.
You're listening to Miller and Moulton, exclusively on the Florida Sports Network.
19 minutes past the hour. Miller and Moulton, Florida Sports Network, FSN Radio is what you text to 21,000 if you've never texted us before. And then you can chime in as early and as often as you'd like. You can watch the show on the Miller and Moulton Twitch.tv channel. Ray Fittipaldo, who covers the Steelers, to join us in a little more than 15 minutes time. Thursday Night Football. That's why I'm in Minneapolis. Pittsburgh at Minnesota. Boy, I'd hate to be in the position that these two teams are, these two franchises are. And, the team I happen to, grow up rooting for is in a worse position. But, Mark, it seems as if the Steelers are at the end of a run, the Roethlisberger era. And the Vikings, this little 5-year thing they put together, maybe 7 years if you want to go all the way back to the 2015 Teddy Bridgewater season. But, they both seem as if the future is not bright. That this actually, for the Steelers, Mark, put it this way, a year from now, 12 games into the season, if I were to ask you right now, hedge your bets, 12 years into next season, Steelers 6-5-1, same, better, or worse?
I'm sorry. Ask me that question again.
A year from now.
A year from now. Okay.
A year from now, do you think the Steelers They're currently 6-5-1. Will they be the same, better,
Same.
or worse?
Same to worse. I don't think they'll be better.
Right.
Same to worse.
And that's what I mean.
I have a lot of faith in this franchise always being right around 500. They seem to figure things out and don't have that. They just don't have that 5-12 year. That's not who the Steelers have ever been. So when I say the same, I think they're at the point of a little bit of mediocrity where they're going to hang around the 8-9, 7-10 number for a couple of years until they figure it out. But I still think Ben could be back for one more. I don't know if he should, but they have nothing else there to play. So unless they're going to go out and get Deshaun Watson, which seems incredibly un-Steeler-like, I don't know what they do for quarterback next year.
So that's all. This feels like the two franchises that are at the end of different runs, different pushes, if you will, an era in Pittsburgh and kind of a push in Minneapolis. And they're both out of the playoffs. Vikings favored by 3. Kickoff in 13 hours on Fox. Speaking of Fox, Curt Menefee will join us at the top of the 9 o'clock hour. We've never had Curt on the show before.
No, we have not.
Kind of happy about that. We're not going to have him for long. He's doing a 2-hour media blitz. You know, we got our 8 minutes, but kind of excited about it.
How often are they in the same city as you? Have
now?
they?
Never.
No, I mean, since you've been doing this with Troy, NFC Championship?
Yes. Yeah, it's the only time Fox goes on the road. They went to New York last Thursday, I believe, to do the show because Strahan was having his jersey retired, or 2 weeks ago. They were in New York because they're just like, listen, we're going to move the show for Strahan on Sunday anyway, so why don't we just get there early and do Thursday as well?
That's what I was going to say, because you don't deal with any of these guys ever. It's not like they're in Detroit or Dallas even on Thanksgiving. They do a live show, but it's from L.A., right?
Right. No, the folks that we see every week are all the NFL Network personnel. Michael Irvin and I were checking in at the same time last night. I was talking to him about the Canes.
Did you not? Now, I'll get to you on the break of what you needed to bring up.
Right.
There were 2 words you could have said that had him on the show this morning. That's all you had to do. And you and I both know what those 2 words are.
Well, off the top of my head, I can't think of them, but
I'll tell you during the break, and you'll laugh. We might not have David for the interview at 7:30 because he may still be laughing when I tell him this.
Okay, but you know,
how fired up was he?
No, it was cold. He was not fired up at all.
No,
right? In fact, he was kind of looking at me like, because, he's seen me. I'm telling you, we run into each other every week. Steve Smith and I now have like a weekly meeting, usually in an elevator, where we have a conversation. I mean, I run into these guys all the time. So Michael has seen me now many times. He doesn't know who I am, but he's like, why do I keep running into this short, fat guy every week? All right. And so he looked at me again, but then he saw the shorts and he's like, dude, what's wrong with you?
Right. And if you told him you lived in Florida, he might have just slapped you right there going, what is wrong with you, sir?
So I quickly explained to him, I live in Florida, but, spent 5 years in Fargo. So, I'm like a mammal, I'm good. I can handle this. He was not happy. He was not happy about it. So,
but he wasn't happy. He wasn't happy about, I thought he'd be happy about Cristobal. I thought even the shorts would get.
No. I said he wasn't happy about the weather. No. Very excited about what's going on with the Canes. Very excited.
What are you excited about? Text FSN Radio to 21,000. FSN Radio, all one word, to 21,000, or join us twitch.tv/Miller and Moulton, and you can jump in to the Twitch chat room. Tonight's game, Steelers and Vikings. We've talked about it. It's a must-win for both. I don't know if a win is good enough to get either team into the playoffs. Still so much to do for both. The Vikings have the Packers, the Rams, and the Bears twice. The Steelers have a tough schedule on their own as well. They've got to play the Ravens. They've got to play the Browns. So no easy task for either team to get to the postseason. But without tonight, there is no postseason.
Yeah. Put a fork in both. Whichever one loses tonight, I think you can take them off the in the hunt category. Like, I don't believe the Dolphins are in the hunt. Sorry. They're not there yet. I'm not even believing it after their bye week if they beat the Jets and get to 7-7. I'm really not buying it. I mean, the Dolphins have won all these games. In the 16-team AFC, do you know where they are? They're 13th. I mean, there's a ton of teams in between them and the 7 seed. They got to get above 500. Then talk to me. Then you're in the hunt, I think.
I got you, but they are in the hunt, particularly if they win this week. And David, they're in the hunt. It doesn't mean they're going to do anything with it. It means they could go sit in the tree stand for 14 hours and never see a deer walk by, okay? You can be in the hunt and never shoot your gun. It's possible, and that's where the Dolphins will be. And remember, who are they doing this for? They're not doing it for you and I. They're doing it for the Dolphins fan base, so they can sit there and look at a graphic every week and go, hey, we still got a chance.
Yeah. I mean, I'm happy for the Dolphins fan. It had to be numbing to be 1-7 coming off a 10-6 season. I mean, they were the most disappointing team in the league at 1-7. The most disappointing. Even more disappointing than the Lions, who were winless. But
we've had a couple of weeks, David, where the games have not been all that juicy. This week, even starting tonight, I get it. These are not Super Bowl contenders, but they are definitely in the hunt, and we believe one's not after tonight.
Correct.
Unless, of course, they tie, then they both could be out.
It's tough to remember a team who had 2 ties in the same year.
But Baltimore and Cleveland play at 1 o'clock. Pretty big game for the Browns.
A very big game for the Browns.
I mean, you could argue it's their season. Dallas and Washington. What is the Washington football team doing? Are they going to figure out a way to get this done?
Well, they're in the playoffs right now.
Right. But David, in the NFC, every loss could take you from 6 to 10 really easily. Raiders and Chiefs, I don't have a lot. You have a lot more faith in the Raiders than I do.
Well, I did last week. That was a big loss, and they controlled that game more than Washington did. That was one that they let get away.
And then in the 4 o'clock slot, you've got Niners and Bengals. What do the Bengals do after playing so poorly a week ago? And the Niners trying to figure out a way to get into the postseason. Bills and Bucs, which I am just geeked about. Buffalo, I'm looking back at that Buffalo-New England game, and I get weather and all that. I want to know, even with all the wind, David, why was Buffalo not throwing it a little bit more? He was effective throwing the football. They never tried to spread New England out. They never seemed, and I know Belichick's great, all these things, but when he did throw the ball, even into the wind, they were effective. I thought they should have thrown a little bit more.
I don't disagree.
After the way they played, I want to see how they respond. They've been playing lousy football, and now they're at Tampa. They lose this game. Buffalo is in serious jeopardy of not making the postseason.
Well, they're the 7 seed right now.
Yes.
Now, after this game, they do have a favorable schedule. They have to go to New England, but the other 3 games on their schedule, they will be favored.
They will, and heavily favored, by the way.
Right. So if you're a Bills fan, you could lose this game and drop to 7-6. And even if you lose the second meeting with the Patriots, you will be heavily favored to post a 10-7 record. That won't win you the East, but it will get you a 6 or a 7 seed.
Definitely should. It definitely should. But look it. Cincinnati's going to get to 10 and probably won't win the division. Indianapolis could still get to 10 and not win the division. And the Chargers could still get to 10 and not win the division. So while, David, I think you're right, they could lose those still games and get in, but boy, oh boy, the margin for error is very, very small for the Buffalo Bills. And that's why I see them playing their tails off on Sunday against Tampa Bay. I think they're going to give Tampa Bay everything they want on Sunday.
Roy Cummings in a half an hour to talk about the Bucs and the Bills this Sunday. But next, we'll head to Pittsburgh. Ray Fittipaldo covers the Steelers. We'll talk about tonight's Steelers-Vikings game, the present and the future for Big Ben and company. Next, Miller and Moulton, the Florida Sports Network.
It's been a great start to the NFL season, and it's only getting better at DraftKings, the official daily fantasy partner of the NFL. DraftKings is putting new customers in the center of the action with a free shot at millions of dollars in total prizes. Get in on the action now. It's simple. Just pick your lineup, stay under the salary cap, and see how your team stacks up against the competition. Feel the NFL action like never before with a free shot at millions of dollars in total prizes. DraftKings is safe, secure, and reliable. And the best part is you can deposit and withdraw your cash whenever you want. Download the DraftKings app now and use code M&M. This week, new customers can get a free shot at millions of dollars in total prizes. Enter code M&M to get a free shot at millions in total prizes with your first deposit. That's code M&M. Only at DraftKings, the official daily fantasy partner of the NFL. Minimum $5 deposit required. Eligibility restrictions apply. See DraftKings.com for details.
You were listening to Miller and Moulton on the Florida Sports Network.
All right, before I start calling in, there's this tweet about this like super rare footage of Babe Ruth striking out, and it's like very high quality. And this guy quoted it on Twitter and said, Babe Ruth's head would explode and his limbs would pop off like Mr. Potato Head after one DeGrom slider. Do you agree?
I don't know.
Because, like, you know, Babe Ruth is Babe Ruth.
He's old.
Yeah.
He played with all white guys. I have no idea. He
Exactly.
played in the 20s.
Exactly.
My guess is he could have hit anybody. You can hit. They could spit on the ball back then and make it move, right?
Yeah.
So I don't know.
Klecko. Jalen Waddle. I think I saw this on Twitter. I think it's true because I looked it up. Jalen Waddle and Tyreek Hill have the same amount of receptions right now. Think about that. No, I think Bird would have a spot in today's NBA. I mean, think about it. He's basically 6'9" Nikola Jokic. I think Wilt Chamberlain would be amazing in today's NBA. Oh, I'm not doubting that, but he's not seeing the stuff that guys have today. Like, not even close.
They locked the damn conference rooms. Can't get to it. Can't get to the food and the drink. What the heck?
They did?
I know. I went down to the third floor, got off the elevator, couldn't get to our meeting room. It's locked.
Hell.
I know.
No, I don't care about your shit. You too choose a file.
That's obviously true. Sports science as well.
All right. God bless America.
Land that I love.
All right, I got you. Holy cow, you guys are not a lot of fun. Resize.
Actually, no, I believe right now it's just the opposite. Somebody needs a Snickers.
No, I'm trying to do work. I'll take these out. Sorry.
He would not play all 82. Ray is on hold.
Great.
I'm telling you, Larry Bird would thrive in today's NBA. He is, I'll say it again, 6'9" Nikola Jokic. Or 6'8". 6'9".
Post Gazette, David.
Yes. Ray Fit 1. Fit with 2 T's. Right, Hops. Right.
10 seconds.
You're listening to Miller and Moulton, exclusively on the Florida Sports Network.
23 minutes before the hour. Thanks for being with us. Miller and Moulton, the Florida Sports Network. I come at you from Minneapolis, the site of Thursday Night Football. Pittsburgh, the Steelers visiting the Vikings. We'll talk a little Bucs with Roy Cummings at the top of the hour. We'll get the Minneapolis point of view from Pat Reusse, old friend of the show, an hour from now. And speaking of old friends of the show, Ray Fittipaldo has been kind enough to join us over the years, and he does so once again. He covers the Steelers for the Pittsburgh Post-Gazette. You can follow Ray on Twitter at RayFit1. That's fit with 2 T's, RayFit1. Ray, it's David and Mark. Hope things are well. Thanks for your time. How are you?
How are you?
Well, we are doing well. Ray, should the Ravens have just put the Steelers out of their misery last week? I mean, this feels like it's torture.
Yeah, I mean, listen, it's that way for a lot of teams in the NFL right now. I mean, you look at the Steelers, they're the number 8 seed. They've kind of just been hanging around all year. They've looked really bad in some games, and in some games, like last week against the Ravens, who were the top seed in the AFC, they rise up and they get a big win. But you could probably say the same thing about the Bengals being inconsistent, and the Browns, and now the Ravens are probably the most injured team in the league. So I don't know who's going to win the AFC North. I don't think the Steelers are, but I think just the way the AFC is, and really you could say the same thing about the NFC. Just about any of those top 12 teams have a legitimate shot at getting to the playoffs.
And tonight's game, Ray, to us, this is a wrestling loser leave town match, because if either the Steelers or Vikings, whomever loses this game, it seems damn near impossible to make the postseason. What did you see in the second half, if anything at all, Ray, that leads you to believe that the Steelers can go on a little run here in December?
Well, if they let them, I thought the no huddle for the Steelers was really good in the second half against the Ravens. You know, Ben Roethlisberger kind of calling his own shots there. And it wasn't just him winging the ball. It was a lot of handoffs to Najee Harris too, and really just keeping the Ravens off balance. So they've been a team that's really struggled to score out of their conventional offense. They got a first-year offensive coordinator in Matt Canada, who's kind of struggled here in his first year, only his second year in the NFL. So I don't know what Mike Tomlin's going to do, but if I was him, I would lean on my future Hall of Fame quarterback, see if he has one great run left in him. And I would not be afraid to go back to that no huddle. It was really effective in the second half against the Ravens. If you guys remember, it was the reason they almost came back and pulled off that big upset against the Chargers in LA a couple of weeks ago too. If not for a late defensive gaffe in that game, the Steelers would be in much better position going into this game tonight.
And they'd be in much better position also if they had turned that tie into a win against Detroit. Ray Fittipaldo covers the Steelers for the Pittsburgh Post-Gazette. How are they health-wise? I know everybody's banged up, and you mentioned the Ravens. Nobody has more starters on the IL than Baltimore. But, Ray, all things considered, where is Pittsburgh health-wise here second Thursday in December?
It's been a really bad year injury-wise for them. Stephon Tuitt, they're one of their best defensive linemen, hasn't played all year, and neither has Tyson Alualu, who went out in week 2. So the defensive line has been a big issue all season. Recently, Joe Hayden's been banged up. He's going to miss a 4th consecutive game with a foot injury. He's their top cornerback. So, yeah, I mean, it's been a tough year for their defense. Usually, you know, a top 5, top 10 defense across the board. Hasn't been that way this year. They've been bad against the run. We'll see if they can turn that around against the Vikings. Dalvin Cook supposedly is going to play tonight. And they've given up some passing yards too. You know, with Hayden being out, they've had to lean on some younger guys or some cast-offs. And quite frankly, those guys haven't stepped up and played real well. So, you know, not the year they expected out of their defense, but I don't think they expected to be dealing with so many injuries either.
And the other Thielen looks like he's out tonight as well, which is a break for Pittsburgh, obviously. Is, in your estimate, you know, this line has been troubling. Obviously, you replace the entire offensive line, but teams can get better. How much better is the Steelers' offensive line, and how much better can it still get? It obviously will have to.
Yeah, I mean, I think the big thing is the young guys. You know, they have a rookie center in Kendrick Green, a rookie left tackle in Dan Moore, arguably 2 of the most important positions on that offensive line. And, you know, those guys have steadily improved, but, you know, they're still rookies and they're still trying to figure it out. And they're not guys of high pedigree. You know, Moore is a 4th rounder and Green is a 3rd rounder. You know, you just look at tonight's game, they're going to be starting a 4th-string guard. John Leglue made his NFL debut last week, stepped in for B.J. Finney, who injured his back. He's not going to play tonight. So they're really kind of scraping the bottom of the depth chart here. Leglue actually played really, really well. He came in and was kind of a spark for that running game. We'll see if he can do it again tonight. But that, as you mentioned, that line has kind of been a work in progress all year. They're better than they have been, but they're probably still they got a few more steps to go before they can, you know, call themselves a good line in the NFL.
Ray Fittipaldo covers the Steelers, Pittsburgh Post-Gazette. Follow him on Twitter, Ray Fit with 2 T's, Ray Fit1, Ray Fit1. Ray, was there really news made this week concerning Ben and his future? I mean, I understand it drew headlines, but didn't we all think coming into this year, isn't everyone, Steelers, Ben, fans, teammates, aren't we all treating this as if this is his swan song, and 2022, if he's there, will actually be a pleasant surprise? Or am I off base?
No, you're completely on base. I probably came on with you guys back in the spring and talked about it. The way that they structured that 1-year contract with avoidable years, it was just going to make it really, really hard financially to bring them back, to bring Ben back. So, yeah, I think anyone who was around the team on an everyday basis kind of knew that was the case. Like, you know, I guess, you know, sometimes national reporters kind of put a new spin on things, and you know, maybe they talked to some people who, you know, were on the inside there. But I think you're on base there. Everyone knew this was kind of a swan song, and like I said earlier, we'll see if he still has some magic left in that 39-year-old arm. Looked really good against the Ravens. I mean, playing against Lamar Jackson, who's one of the best young players in the league. I know he still struggles as a passer, but he's a really good playmaker for that team. I thought Ben really outplayed him. So if they can get those types of performances on a consistent basis down the stretch, I think they'll have a shot. But Ben has been kind of inconsistent this year, hasn't been able to stack those games. So we'll see if he could rise up here in December and January and pull that off.
Well, there's no doubt he'll have to be more consistent. When you look back now to the Cincinnati game, what the hell happened? I mean, there's getting beat, and then there was what happened in Cincinnati, and they rebounded from it, which is what you need to do. But can you put a finger on why that just imploded so badly a couple weeks ago?
The run defense was shoddy, and Joe Mixon ran all over him. I think he ran for a career high 165 yards, and things just kind of snowballed on him. It was 21-3 late in the second quarter. They get the ball in their own territory, and then they try to throw it, and they pick six, and it's pretty much over from there. So, every team has those types of games every once in a while, but I got to tell you, that was the first time in a long time I've seen the Steelers beaten that badly. And I'm going to be honest with you, I thought the Bengals were the team to beat at that point, but then they come out and they lay an egg the next week. I mean, this is just a crazy year the way the NFL has been. One of these teams is going to have to step up and be consistent. Like I said, I don't know if it's going to be the Ravens, the Bengals, whoever, but somebody's going to find it down the stretch here because it's kind of a big sea of mediocrity right now in the division, and somebody's got to step up and sort of want it and take it home from here.
Ray, a gentleman who's watching us on Twitch chimed in with Devin Bush a major disappointment. Agree with that? And if so, do you think this goes back to he's still coming back from the injury?
Yeah, I mean, that's part of it. He's 13 months removed from major reconstructive surgery, but there's more to it as well. I mean, the coaches have talked about taking some stuff off his plate. In terms of him being the play caller in the middle of that defense. And, if you're that guy, if you're the guy who's going to orchestrate that defense and get everyone lined up, your knee doesn't really have anything to do with that. So he's still struggling, with processing the game, reading and reacting. And he's still kind of learning, do the Steelers want to be in this position in year 3? No, they got to figure out 6 months from now, by the beginning of May, if they want to, pick up the 5th-year option on his rookie contract. So he has been a disappointment. The knee has been an issue, but I will tell you it's much more than the knee right now. He's struggling in a lot of ways.
Do you think Watt may go the rest of the year without practicing, that he may be like a walkthrough guy the rest of the year? I mean, because I'll tell you what, if I'm going to get 3.5 sacks on a week that I don't practice, I may do it for the rest of the year just, to not break the little run we got going. But in all seriousness, with battling the injuries that he's battled, how many times do we think Watt's going to practice before playing this year?
Yeah, probably not a lot. He'll probably get those veteran days off down the stretch. And, I mean, his numbers are unbelievable right now.
Yep.
Can you imagine if he wasn't injured?
Right.
Throughout the season, it's just kind of been nicked up. I think he's slam dunk NFL Defensive Player of the Year as it is. And, assuming that he stays healthy the rest of the year. And, we might be seeing a changing in the guard here. I think, TJ probably should have won one of the last 2 years, maybe both of the last years. That kind of been Aaron Donald's award because he's been so good. And Donald's still very good, but TJ Watt has been so good. I don't think they're going to deny him this year.
I agree with you. For whatever reason, maybe it's the people around Donald, but Donald not having the impact that he's had. The double teams seem to be working a little more effectively this year than in past years. Ray, as always, we appreciate your time and your insight. Safe travels. If we don't talk, happy holidays, and hopefully we will talk sooner than later.
All right, appreciate having you on. See you.
Ray Fittipaldo covers the Steelers, Pittsburgh Post-Gazette. Follow him on Twitter, RayFit1. That's fit with 2 T's. RayFit1. Ray Fittipaldo here on Miller and Moulton.
I want to switch gears before the top of the hour. We're going to have Roy Cummings coming on at 8 o'clock. But, David, have you ever had an eviction letter?
Yes.
And I know I have at one point in college. I'm sure we were delinquent. What do you think? Do you remember what you had to pay? when you're getting evicted, it was like for past due bills, a couple $100, $400, maybe, probably
You
something
mean
like that.
like interest, because
Well,
we're
no,
late?
like an apartment, getting evicted out of apartment, you might owe $1,000 or something like that.
Yeah.
All right. I don't know if you're aware of this, but there's a tenant in a city in a building that's not been paying its bills, and they're getting a bit of an eviction notice. It seems that the Arizona Coyotes owe the city of Glendale $1.3 million, and the city of
Correct.
Glendale is threatening to lock them out of their arena. They have filed paperwork to lock them out of the arena. The Coyotes have said that this is all a accounting error, and we're going to pay it all first thing in the morning. The city's informed Bettman. They've gone through all the channels. The key date here is December 20th. Now, the Coyotes say they're going to pay everything right away, but there is a hearing, and they have until 5 p.m. on the 20th to pay the outstanding invoices, the outstanding tax bill. If they settle up, basically, they're saying they can use it, or the vendors could be locked out. But the first home game after the deadline, and why I bring this up, David, is on December 23rd, when Arizona is scheduled to host the Tampa Bay Lightning. There's a great line in Bull Durham. We need a rainout. I'll get you a rainout. Now, the Lightning really don't need a rainout because they're one of the 3-4 best teams in the league. But nothing like a walkthrough in Phoenix on the 23rd to help start a road trip, if you know what I mean.
Right. Well, it could just be a little extra golf for
now,
the Lightning.
Why I bring this up is there's been talk forever of the Coyotes relocating. It has not worked in Arizona. It hasn't come close to working. There's part of me right now that wants to see this be an old minor league midseason switch.
Oh, wow.
I know it won't happen, but how fun would it be that if on December 23rd, the Hamilton Coyotes were hosting the Tampa Bay Lightning in Hamilton, Ontario, or in Portland, Oregon, or name the spot, David, I don't care.
Well, there's a guy in Houston who about a year and a half ago flew to New York and met with Bettman for a few hours and basically said, I'll take them. We want a team. Because now that they're at 32, the thought is there's not going to be expansion. Mark,
Right.
We know Hamilton in Canada's wanted one. Quebec,
desperately.
Right. Houston, could they on the fly? Could Portland raise their hand and take them?
And no, they couldn't. But this has everything about the Phoenix Coyotes or the Arizona Coyotes or whatever the hell they are has sounded minor league from their inception. They've never even been thought of really as a major league franchise. I mean, they had a coach with a gambling problem. I mean, this has been a laughable franchise. So just deep down, David, I just want them tonight like the Baltimore Colts did to Indianapolis, but I want them to do it midseason.
That'd be fantastic. The only reason they're there is the commissioner. The commissioner, for whatever, it is now the number 6 market in the country.
Yes.
So, and Bettman saw that coming, and that's why he wants a team there. It's just not working.
Because the Suns have never allowed it to work. If they would have let him in the building, things could have been a lot different. The Phoenix Suns are the team in that market and always have been. Roy Cummings is our guy for the Tampa Bay Bucs. We will talk to him next right here on the Florida Sports Network.
Bring your big mouth to John Smith Subs and indulge in their overstuffed subs with the freshest quality ingredients. Enjoy our famous steak bomb with perfectly grilled marinated sirloin steak topped with provolone cheese, grilled onions, peppers, mushrooms, crispy bacon, juicy tomatoes, and creamy mayo. Boom! Made-to-order crispy fries can be paired with the Gator, the Cuban, the Chicken Bomb, or the Italian. Love local. Eat delicious with John Smith Subs. Find a John Smith Subs location near you today.
The Firestone Grand Prix of St. Petersburg, presented by RP Funding, roars through the streets of beautiful downtown St. Petersburg, February 25th to the 27th. 3-day tickets are on sale now at gpstpete.com. It's fast, fun, family entertainment jam-packed into 3 days. The weekend is highlighted by the NTT IndyCar Series race taking the green flag on Sunday afternoon. It all happens at the Firestone Grand Prix of St. Petersburg, presented by RP Funding, February 25th to the 27th. Visit gpstpete.com now to secure the best.
It's been a great start to the NFL season, and it's only getting better at DraftKings, the official daily fantasy partner of the NFL. DraftKings is putting new customers in the center of the action with a free shot at millions of dollars in total prizes. Get in on the action now. It's simple. Just pick your lineup, stay under the salary cap, and see how your team stacks up against the competition. Feel the NFL action like never before with a free shot at millions of dollars in total prizes. DraftKings is safe, secure, and reliable. And the best part is you can deposit and withdraw your cash whenever you want. Download the DraftKings app now and use code M&M. This week, new customers can get a free shot at millions of dollars in total prizes. Enter code M&M to get a free shot at millions in total prizes with your first deposit. That's code M&M, only at DraftKings, the official daily fantasy partner of the NFL. Minimum $5 deposit required. Eligibility restrictions apply. See DraftKings.com for details.
You were listening to Miller and Moulton on the Florida Sports Network.
Mark, next time I'll just use this microphone because the microphone that I have is it's terrible.
That's probably what it is.
It's
Speaking of which, too, I want to give you that. I'm not even told Marty, but I'm going to give you that computer, a monitor. The monitor's mine. The computer's Marty, but it's a PC, so you've got something to work on this crap.
okay.
You know that you don't have to use your laptop. You can just set it up. That can be your work computer. Until we're going to end up using it for streaming at some point, but between now and then, there's no reason why you can't be using that and making your life a little easier. Well, or I make it harder, whichever one it is. I'm not exactly sure. Yeah, I didn't think that was worthy of a segment there, David, so I just thought I'd jam it in before the break because I thought it was kind of fun.
I like it.
Are you saying NHL in Portland?
Yeah.
They want it.
Yeah.
They do want it. I think it would work. I think with Seattle having a team, it would help too.
I was gonna say they just did Seattle. That's big.
They do not have a place to play for next year, correct? Isn't this their final year? Didn't the county say to them, you're done at the end of this season?
I don't know that. Give me 1 second and I will check.
Well, they might be moving out of Phoenix.
Oh, out of that arena.
Yeah, but if
They're
they
talk
can't-
of Tempe. The Suns won't let them.
why?
They own the town.
Yeah. Sharing a NBA, NHL sharing an arena is a lot too.
Not really.
I mean,
They do it everywhere.
I mean,
everywhere.
Yeah, Philly,
Everywhere.
New York,
Everywhere.
Chicago,
Everywhere.
Washington.
Detroit now?
They used to do it in Miami.
Right. It's not a big deal. It's that Phoenix doesn't want to do it. They don't have to because they own the town.
Los Angeles with 2 NBAs and a hockey.
Garden, the TD Garden.
I hate it. I wish they had separate ones because it makes for a better basketball arena.
You are listening to Miller and Moulton, exclusively on the Florida Sports Network. Now, here's Mark Miller and David Moulton.
Minute and a half past the hour, top of the morning to you. How the heck are you? Miller and Moulton, the Florida Sports Network, halfway home for those of you in the 239, beginning the final hour for those of you in Tampa, St. Pete listening, and that's where Roy Cummings joins us from. He writes on the Bucs for pewterpirates.com. Follow Roy on Twitter at rcummingsfhcn. Roy, David, and Mark, once again, how are you?
I'm good. How's everybody there?
We're fine.
We're doing great, Roy. I mean, David's hanging out in Minneapolis in shorts, so he's a little crazy, but we've come to know that over the years.
Hey, I'm with him. You get into the shorts lifestyle, it's hard to give it up, no matter the temperature.
There's no doubt. It's hard to even find socks these days, Roy. We all struggle down here.
Indeed.
The Bills played such a weird game last week, and they are really backed up against the wall. When you look at this game Sunday, how do you approach it from the Bills? And I know you cover the Bucs, but as you cover the Bucs to try to win the game, this Bills team to me seems like they're going to be really desperate playing against Tampa on Sunday.
Yeah, I agree. Look, they have really fallen off course here of late. They started off extremely strong. Everybody thought they were clearly the elite team in that division. It's always been like a two-team division anyway. And this year, everybody thought, the number one team would be Buffalo and maybe Miami would be the next one. But nobody expected the Patriots to do what they've done. But you got to say, a lot of what the Patriots did the other night was just, the Bills' undoing. I mean, the Bills just can't seem to get out of their own way at times now. They've really kind of altered their game plan. They don't protect the passer very well. They struggle to run the ball. I thought they did a great job of actually, passing the ball downfield against Miami in a tough environment, against New England, but still couldn't get the job done. And, just kind of, unforced errors here and there seem to really derail them. And I don't know that they can get out of that funk right now by coming to Tampa. Maybe the weather will help them. I don't know. But it's going to be tough for them. So clearly, yes, they are very desperate. And I think Tampa's kind of looking to right itself a little bit too. I mean, they're not playing their best football right now.
Yeah, but they're winning. I mean, that record is a little gaudier than how they've played, isn't it, Roy? It's fascinating. The Bills plus minus, they've scored 140 more points than they've given up. 140, yet they're 7-5. And yet Tampa has their plus minus is 107 and they're 9-3. It's as if one team, they managed to win. They know how to win. They managed to win. And the other team is super talented, as talented as the Super Bowl champs, and they can't win a close game no matter how hard they try.
Yeah, I think both teams have done a real good job of just basically beating up on the teams that they should beat. And when I say beating up, I mean, they won by, multiple scores. So the Bucs have done that. Buffalo did that early on. Couldn't beat Jacksonville, though. So I think that's kind of where it is. I don't put a whole lot of stock into that plus figure. It's impressive for sure. There's no doubt about it. But again, I kind of look at it, week by week and say, neither team is really playing its best football right now, which to me is a bit of a disappointment because, I thought when this game, you looked at it early on in the schedule, and this is one of the reasons when the schedule comes out and everybody starts trying to say, well, here's a win, here's a loss, it all changes. And it's why I never really kind of got into that practice. I'm not a big fan of that because everything changes so much. And now you look at this game and you say, whereas you might have thought early on that this was, maybe a Super Bowl preview, well, now you've got at least one team desperate to make the playoffs and another team that, is in pretty good shape, but you could also see where they could fall off the trail a little bit themselves and end up on the road for the first week of the playoffs. So, we'll see where it goes.
Outside of AB being suspended and Arians in a walking boot, what are the most significant injuries you have to worry about for Sunday?
Well, I got to tell you, it doesn't show up much, but I'm still worried about guys like JPP and, the older guys that are just kind of feeling it a little bit. We're not seeing a whole lot out of them, and they're not getting their best out of them. Look, this team is so deep. Injuries are not a concern. Unless Tom Brady's hurt, even if Gronkowski's hurt, which he's not right now, this team can overcome injuries. I don't think that's really the problem, including in the secondary. They're a lot deeper in the secondary than people want to give them credit for. And even when some of the starters were there or are there, they're still vulnerable there because they just don't think the talent is as good as everybody wants to make it out to be. I think that secondary is made to look a lot better as a result of the play of the defensive front seven with the blitzing. And I think when that happens, it's just harder to move the ball on these guys. And I think that they benefit from that. But I think when teams figure out the blitz scheme, which has been hard to do, but when they do, I think they've realized this team is vulnerable to the pass still. So I'm still concerned most with, I guess, the injuries in the secondary because it doesn't really matter, who they put in there. That group just seems to struggle. And so you'd like your best players there. They're not going to have them all. Sherman's not going to be back. But again, this is a team that can overcome injuries. They've shown that. The real concern for me is just play smarter football. I mean, once again, this is a team that seems to constantly, they take a lot of pre-snap penalties on the defensive side. To me, that's unnecessary. They can get by without, look, they blitz half the time anyway, so I'm not sure why they're so eager to get off the snap. It's part of the game, but you just got to be a little smarter than that. I think they just need to play smarter football.
Talking Bucs with Roy Cummings, pewterpirates.com, pewterpirates.com. Follow Roy on Twitter, rcummingsfhcn, rcummingsfhcn. I know you don't like to do the schedule game, so I'm going to annoy you with this. But,
okay,
Roy, there's no denying. They're 4 games after Sunday. Home for the Saints and Panthers, on the road for the Jets and Panthers. Roy, they might be a double-digit favorite in all 4 of those games. They have a real shot here walking on the field Sunday where you could see, much like last year, 7-5 turned into running the table, and it started very slowly with a home win over Minnesota. The Bucs now, who have put 2-3 in the win column here since that Washington game, they win against Buffalo, Roy. They could run this thing, and 14-3 could get you the 1.
We went through this. I don't know if it was you guys and I and myself, but I've been asked this before, and I was asked it around the midway point of the season. Where do you see a difficult game for Tampa going forward? And this was, a month ago, and I said, Buffalo, and that was it, and it hasn't changed. And I'm not sure Buffalo is going to be all that tough anymore. So, look, what I see ahead for this team is a great opportunity to right the wrongs and to get just a little bit sharper on both sides of the ball, to start targeting someone else a little bit more than Rob Gronkowski. I do think that Tom Brady leans on him a little bit too much sometimes. I'd like to see him incorporate some of the other maybe lesser known receivers into the offense, so people are cognizant of the fact that he'll go just about anywhere. I think this is an opportunity to do that. Look, job one, go out, stop the run, win the game. But if you're up by 17 points, which they probably will be at some point in each one of these games going forward, try to work some of those other guys into the scheme a little bit. I think that's going to be something they're going to have to do because, let's face it, bottom line is this team has done very well for the most part playing bad football teams, except for maybe Washington. They have struggled against the better teams. Haven't played that many, but they've struggled against better teams. And obviously when they get to the playoffs, they're going to probably play some pretty good teams. The NFC is not all that stacked, it seems, and neither is the AFC really. I'm not sure who the good teams are. Maybe it's Tampa. Maybe they're the best team in the NFL. And but they don't play it. They don't play like it, week in and week out. I think they could. So I think they can be better. I think the opportunity is at hand for them to really sharpen things and be at their best come playoff time. So it looks really good for them going forward. It really does.
Roy, final question. AB. Gut feeling, I think Arians would like him gone. But Brady is looking at coach going, I know he's a pain in the butt. I can keep him under wraps. We can finish this thing off and we can repeat, and then you could do with him whatever you want. Who do you think's going to win this year? Last year, Brady won about AB. Who do you think's going to win this year?
Yeah, you're not going to upset the apple cart at this point. Tom Brady's still going to win that. They might have a conversation with him after the season and say, look, we got to move on from this. This is not good. But for now, I don't think you're going to see anybody upset the apple cart. They're going to let it go. And when AB's ready to come back, he'll come back. And Tom Brady will throw it to him. And the Bucs will, they'll hold their nose and take their medicine. It doesn't look good for the organization. But hey, you know what? At the end of the day, look, this is the NFL. It's about winning. They're not the first franchise to hold on to guys that don't necessarily represent your emblem or the NFL shield the way you want them to. But you really face it, that's the league. Every team's got, at least one of those guys, if not two or three or four of those guys. It's unfortunate. You'd like to see more teams stand up for what the league is supposed to count for, but they don't. So the league really doesn't stand for that. The league stands for winning, and that's it, at all costs. And if the cost is we've got a guy on our team who isn't the best citizen off the field, well, so be it. That's the way you win in this league, and the Bucs are going to be all about winning right now.
He's Roy Cummings. Covers the Bucs, pewterpirates.com. He's been our guy for, more than 15 years. You can follow him on Twitter at rcummingsfhcn, rcummingsfhcn. Roy, have a great rest of your week. Hope Sunday goes well for you. We'll talk soon.
All right, guys. Thanks for having me as always. Appreciate it.
Roy Cummings, kind enough to join us once again. We'll react to what he had to say. A few other things that are out there. We'll get the Minnesota point of view of Vikings Steelers, and also a couple longtime Twins finally making it into the Hall of Fame. One of our favorites, Pat Reusse, to join us in 25 minutes' time.
I just want to stop you. I don't know if we're going to get the Minnesota Vikings point of view. We're going to get Pat Reusse's point of view on the Minnesota Vikings. That could be completely different than the collective thoughts on the Vikings in the Minneapolis-St. Paul area. And it's the only opinion I want on the Vikings.
Mark, you make a dadgum good point. Pat Reusse has had an opinion that has usually been very different from the people who read his columns, and yet he's managed to have an amazing career doing it.
And I love everything about this guy. I put it this way, I'd rather have Reusse's opinions on the Vikings than Zimmer's opinions on the Vikings on my show.
And so would the readers of the paper, believe me. Pat Reusse to join us in 25 minutes' time. He's up. He's already texted. He's ready to go. Miller and Moulton, the Florida Sports Network.
Mark Miller for Orange Whip Golf and Fitness Power Peel at Home Training System. This complete body and swing trainer uses resistance band connection system to fix bad habits and ingrain a more consistent, powerful swing. The Power Peel system is powered by functional golf swing training technology. It trains both your swing and body at the same time. Simply make a few prescribed resistant band connections, and in a few steps on the peel, you'll swing better, feel better, and play better. Use it before your round of warm-up, as your daily fitness routine, or anytime you want to feel and train the swing you've always wanted. Pair the Power Peel with the Orange Whip Golf and Fitness at Home training technology, available with a monthly membership, and maximize your results with Golf Fitness X coach-led programs that take less than 20 minutes a day. Buy the Power Peel training bundle now for 4 interest-free payments of $115 by going to orangewhipgolf.com and use code Miller10. That's code Miller10 to save $45. Go to orangewhipgolf.com and use code Miller10 to save $45 and play better golf. Go to orangewhipgolf.com. You are listening to Miller and Moulton on the Florida Sports Network.
Holy crap.
What?
Audio and video from the Patriots locker room after a win. I've not seen a whole lot of that out there before. Bill Belichick talking to his team after a win on Twitter. Have you seen much of that?
No. I will say this, though, because we've done a couple Patriots games this year. Pre-game, they release a lot of stuff. Like, I was surprised how much the Patriots actually do on social media and they release, but it's never what you just described.
Okay, our voices are going out over the air on commercials, I'm being told. Come on, man.
I know, that's my bad. That's
Well,
my bad.
Hey! This can get us fired.
we can lose our
Can't
job,
make this
man.
mistake.
Come on.
I know.
No, don't say a word.
Yeah.
Come on. This is important.
I clicked.
I don't care. It does not matter.
I know.
This is very important.
Sorry.
We like you, but you are making huge mistakes.
I fixed it as soon as I got here, too.
It's happened twice this week, buddy. I can lose my career over that. That ain't funny.
Welcome back to Miller and Moulton, only on the Florida Sports Network.
At Reusse in 15 minutes. Miller and Moulton, the Florida Sports Network, the Florida Sports Network. Tiger Woods is going to be playing golf next week in a semi-competitive situation. He'll do so with the use of a cart. What used to be the Father-Son Challenge is now the PNC Championship. It's in Orlando. It's 2 days, 36 holes. But it's Tiger Woods on a golf course with his 12-year-old son. And he did hint at this. And, Mark, I got to give Brandel Chamblee all the credit in the world. When Tiger did his press event last week for the Hero Challenge there, Chamblee heard his comments and said he's playing in the Father-Son. I can tell you when he's coming back right now. They're holding a spot open for him. He said he can play in this little, hits and giggles stuff. And this is obviously a hits and giggles thing, and Chamblee called it. Be curious when we see him a second time.
Well, I think you were on to something last week when we first talked about this, David. You said St. Andrews. Never played there. I was lucky enough to visit it when I spent a summer in London when I was in college. And we did a weekend in Scotland. And I said, if I'm this close to St. Andrews, 3 non-golfers with us, do you mind if we make the trek up and see it? I did not realize that on Sundays, that course is closed to the public, and it's a park. And they have for lack of a better term, a putt-putt course set up on like 1 in 18 fairways. And it was at that time £1 to play it. So the 4 of us played putt-putt, walked the bridge. People are picnicking all around. But the one thing I do remember, David, I've had pancakes with more curves than St. Andrews. I mean, it is flat. If Tiger wants to play there from a physically being conditioned standpoint, it's not walking Augusta.
No.
And, having been to Augusta with my father when he had a bad back and was an older man, my dad every 3 holes, not playing Augusta, walking Augusta, but every 3 holes, he'd look at me and say, Mark, I need to sit down for a minute. This is getting to me. So you and I talked about this. Tiger wants to play Augusta more than any other course. When he plays there, remains to be seen. I don't think it's this year. If he were to play at Augusta this year, then what he has done to retransform his body again post-car accident would be amazing to me. Amazing. Even if he plays an event before Augusta, I just see that being a very difficult spot for him playing. Play one of the Florida tournaments on the other coast. You play the Honda.
Yeah, and we've always thought right. We've always thought if he's going to play a Florida swing event, would he play Arnie's event at Bay Hill or would he play TPC? But you've got to think the 150th British Open or Open Championship, and it's at St. Andrews. And obviously Tiger knows his place in the sport, St. Andrews' place in the sport, how many claret jugs he's won, and he's won 2 of them there. And they don't play this thing there every year. It ain't Augusta. Now, they go to St. Andrews every 5 years on average, but still, that means the next time that Tiger plays, the first digit on his birth certificate is going to read a 5. And Tiger, he says, I don't think I can win a major again. But when Tiger tees it up at St. Andrews in July, which you and I both think he will, deep down, Tiger will think, well, I know I was a lot younger, but I basically won this tournament once hitting a 2-iron off the tee.
David, don't you think, and I know Tom didn't do it there, but don't you think deep down Tiger Woods has got to be saying to himself, Watson nearly won this at 59.
Right.
I can sure as hell do it now.
Right. And my short game is better than his.
Well, and it is the one thing about those guys, all of them. When the flat stick starts going, look out. And when his starts, at that course, he starts rolling it. Look out.
Well, remember when Tiger was coming back for third, fourth time, whatever comeback it was. But when he first showed up on the radar was when he had the lead in the final round of a British.
And while Augusta roars are magical, the sheer amount of people that they put on a golf course for the Open Championship,
thank you,
is unlike anything that happens in this country. And they are louder by nature at a golf tournament than we are as American fans at a golf tournament. And trust me, if Tiger's getting it going, everybody's going to know, David.
Now, Tiger did joke last week in which he said, the ball goes in the air now and it comes down a lot sooner than it used to. And so
all of us, big fella.
Right.
I don't know what to tell you.
And he
going to get worse.
He was kind of joking and kind of serious all at the same time when he basically said, not sure what my next swing is going to end up being. And quite frankly, how long of a hitter I'm going to end up being. So he goes, I've still got that to work out. But Mark, that's also a venue and a tournament in which length is not if the course is hard and dry, you could be a singles hitter and hit the ball just fine because the ball will roll forever. Azinger nearly won that thing back in 87. It was never a long hitter.
Well, and you don't have to be.
No.
As you're saying, you don't have to be.
But so Tiger will play next week with a cart with his 12-year-old son. It'll be good to see him, see how he moves around, see how he swings, how far he's hitting the ball. And then, okay, it's December. If you're holding out hope for the Masters, then he's got 4 months. If you're holding out hope for a British, he's got 7. That's if he can ever make it back. I mean, even he said, he goes, I don't know. I think I'll be able to play the occasional event, but we'll see. Be interesting to see how he looks next week.
I love this tournament just from one standpoint. I think the father-son tournament's hysterical because it's a father-son and father-daughter tournament because Nelly Corda's playing with her dad.
Correct.
Justin Thomas is playing with his dad.
Right.
I mean, that's the part of this that I find funny, is that you got some guys that are playing with their kids and some participants that are playing with their fathers. And, just for the Twitch chatter says, other than Tiger, you're not going to know anybody that's in it? Oh, I don't know. Nick Faldo, Tom Watson, Henrik Stenson, Bubba Watson, the aforementioned Justin Thomas, Lee Trevino, Vijay Singh, Nick Price, Matt Kuchar, Tom Lehman, Gary Player, Mark O'Meara, Padraig Harrington, Jim Furyk, David Duval, John Daly. Heard of any of them?
I believe, in fact, that the only qualifier is you have to have won a major championship. But Kuchar hasn't won one, has he? I mean, unless they count the amateur.
They might. Rich Beam's in it. He won a PGA. That was the only name I didn't mention because he's probably the least known person in it other than maybe Nelly Corda because you have to follow the LPGA to know who she is.
But I thought
people know who her father is because he played on the Pro Tennis Tour for 10, 12 years.
But I think I thought the prerequisite, because obviously, you'd have everyone on tour that would want to play in this. It's cool. Play with your dad or play with your kid. I mean, it'd be awesome. But I believe the requirement is you have to have won a major.
Yep. Or the players, David.
That's where Kuchar gets in, right?
The players. And that's a major to the guys on tour. They try to treat it that way. It's not to the rest of us. Well, it's their major. That's how they bill it.
I know.
And they must have needed to add that because they were short a guy one year and that got Kuchar at his number 20. I don't know. I don't know what to tell you, David.
Hey, back in the day, they counted they counted the amateur as a major. You go watch the 86 clips of Jack winning. Ken Venturi says right on the air, it's number 20. Somewhere between 86 and when Tiger started winning 3 amateurs in a row, the amateur stopped counting as a major.
Miller and Moulton, one of our all-time favorites. Pat Reusse, the great Pat Reusse. Writer, radio host, Mr. Minneapolis is what I'd like to call him. Mr. He could also, he's got a little bit of the Don Rickles. He could be Mr. Warmth as well.
Oh, you know what?
We could play the bullfighting music for Reusse, and I think he'd appreciate it.
I do too. Pat Reusse next. Miller and Moulton, Florida Sports Network.
It's been a great start to the NFL season, and it's only getting better at DraftKings, the official daily fantasy partner of the NFL. DraftKings is putting new customers in the center of the action with a free shot at millions of dollars in total prizes. Get in on the action now. It's simple. Just pick your lineup, stay under the salary cap, and see how your team stacks up against the competition. Feel the NFL action like never before with a free shot at millions of dollars in total prizes. DraftKings is safe, secure, and reliable. And the best part is you can deposit and withdraw your cash whenever you want. Download the DraftKings app now and use code M&M. This week, new customers can get a free shot at millions of dollars in total prizes. Enter code M&M to get a free shot at millions in total prizes with your first deposit. That's code M&M only at DraftKings, the official daily fantasy partner of the NFL. Minimum $5 deposit required. Eligibility restrictions apply. See DraftKings.com for details.
You were listening to Miller and Moulton on the Florida Sports Network.
Llama, I'm fine. I had no problems when they counted the amateur as a major. But I don't know if it was Mark O'Mara, Phil Mickelson, but, O'Mara won the amateur, Phil won the amateur. But when, for the longest time, it was, trying to win their first major. And there were those of us who grew up in golf like, well, what are you talking about? They won the amateur. Now, if you said trying to win their professional major, but that's not what they were saying. They were saying trying to win your first major. Sometime between Nicklaus and Tiger, they stopped counting the amateur as a major. I mean, Jack won 2. Tiger won 3. That's why, if you want, you could put Jack's number at 20 and Tiger's is 18. The 2 greatest stats in golf, one was Jack, 15 consecutive years. He finished on the first page of the leaderboard at the British Open. His worst finish was 6th in a 15-year period of time. Consecutive tournaments, British Open. Tiger's was winning the 3 junior amateurs followed by the 3 U.S. amateurs back to back to back to back to back to back. He won 36 consecutive match play matches. I mean, that's take your Walter Hagen and Bobby Jones and hold my beer.
The Ohio State Senate passed a bill yesterday to legalize sports betting in retail and mobile by a 31-1 vote.
My lawyer friend in Jersey says, by the way, your head's looking huge today. I go, yeah, no way to avoid it camera angle wise.
Yeah, I still got to get you that light. It would make a difference.
Yeah, probably
that
would.
halo light. It would just make you look better. It's actually for people who do stories on their phone, David. It literally, it's got a thing where you take your phone, place it right in the middle, and it's a round light all around your phone. It's pretty cool. And it's only like $12. You don't need the phone for it to work, but I mean, that's how it's set up. I actually think it's a pretty cool system.
Maybe that's what I'll do going forward.
Do the whole show on your phone?
Getting a new one.
I think when David, I'm not joking. When we do StreamYard like this, I would like to at least try it one time because I think you'd be shocked.
Oh, I got to get a stand then. Got to get a place to put it.
Well, but that light thing has it. Like literally. And then all you'd have to do is you'd have to go probably some form of Bluetooth. So you put earbuds in that would pick up your voice. So you wouldn't be on a speakerphone.
Right. And like Bob's telling me, hey, use a different camera than the laptop camera. And I will say on the new, iPhone 13 or whatever the hell they are, apparently the camera's great.
They're all HD cameras. Yeah.
Right. So maybe I'll do it.
That's on hold.
Thank you. No more radio show, by the way, for Reusse.
No, I know. I just was kind of talking in general of the things that.
Just he's down to podcasts and
he's been down to podcasts for a while, I think. And I remember him being on the show when he said it, and it's a while ago. Ah, dang it. One of these days I'll spell his name right the first time. I always go R-U-E. What is he? What do I put him with? Just
Star Trib.
Can I go Mr. Minneapolis?
15 seconds.
Sure. Mr. Warmth.
Welcome back to Miller and Moulton, only on the Florida Sports Network.
"22 minutes before the hour. Thanks so much for being with us, Miller and Moulton. Florida Sports Network, the Florida Sports Network. I'm in Minneapolis for Thursday Night Football. Steelers at Vikings. Minnesota 3-point favorite. Mark back in the cozy confines of the 239. A gentleman who has spent a lot of time in both places, Pat Reusse, is kind enough to join us once again. Tremendous columnist for the Star Tribune. He also does regular podcasts. Pat, David, and Mark, once again, hope you have been well. How are you?
I'm fine. You're in town now. We give you a little snow to get through the winter. That's good.
Hey, I'm still in shorts, though, Pat. Okay, I'm still, I'm fighting this thing hard.
Yeah, well, if you're walking 6 blocks this morning in shorts to get to the stadium, then you'll impress me. If you're in shorts sitting in your room, I'm not quite as impressed as I am with that. But you know what about being here, buddy? No pythons. You will not see a python.
Pat, I moved from Michigan a long time ago. I'll take my chances with pythons over ice and snow any damn day of the week.
I don't know. I saw 3 hitchhiking up 75 when I was down there last spring, so I'm not so sure.
Probably in the left lane going 20 miles an hour, Pat. That just seems to be the case. Hey, we talked with Ray Fittipaldo from Pittsburgh earlier, and I'll say the same thing to you, Pat. With this game tonight, this is kind of a lose or leave town match because whoever loses this game, their playoff hopes are completely shot.
Yes.
If the Vikings make it, I mean, do they have to make it for Zim, or even making it could be the end for Zim?
I don't think Zim stays unless he wins a playoff game. I don't think he's going to get saved even by limping into the playoffs at 9-8, or in the NFC maybe 8-9 with a tiebreaker. It's so mediocre down there the last, between 5 and 10 as far as the teams are concerned. I don't know. All season he's looked different. Like he kind of knows how much pressure he's under, and he's not the same guy. He doesn't rip them after they lose anymore. He's trying to be a nice guy. I think somebody from the higher ups told him to not not be so blunt about his team when they stink. And he's kind of looked different, and he knows it. He knows it's all over unless something good happens to him. And if they lose tonight, I'm not sure he survives till the following Sunday. Because you got the 10 days off, and if you're going to fire him during the season, and they've done that before, they did it with Childress. This is the time it's going to do it. Now, Pittsburgh is terrible, but the Vikings might be worse, and and Pittsburgh always seems to kind of figure out a way too. So I think it's a toss-up game. I really do, because it's two teams crawling on their bellies out there, and we'll see who does what. The Vikings are defensively. Kendricks didn't play last week. I guess he's in this week. He's your best player. Hunter hasn't been playing. Cook's not playing. Thielen's not going to play tonight. So the weapons that they have are not intact. And then of course, with Cousins, you never know what you're going to get. But he had the huge numbers last Sunday, and when it push came to shove, he was still Cousins. He didn't make the plays, and that was quite a finish, wasn't it? Losing to Detroit. The big question in town this week has been, where in the hell was Cameron Dantzler going on that last touchdown pass? The guy's standing in front of the goal line, and Cameron takes off to the corner to cover him. It was very weird, but it's a comical defeat, so that's good.
Pat, I know contractually, and we're talking with Pat Reusse of the Star Trib in Minneapolis, I know that they're tied to Cousins for one more year from a cap standpoint. They can't get out of paying him $35 million or whatever it is for next year. But I just wonder, if Zim goes, does the organization essentially, whether they physically can or not, do they then say, well, then we got to move on from the quarterback as well?
Zim for Cousins. They aren't exactly joined at the hip. He basically, if you put him on a lie detector test and asked him about this, guy would blow up if he tried to tell you how much he appreciated him. He's, Zim showed up, guys, on the first Wednesday of training camp, and he was happy as he was optimistic. It was a different Zim. And the next day they find out Cousins got to go into quarantine because he hasn't been vaccinated. And that's when he comes out and says he's going to wear plexiglass around his head to keep from getting, the plexiglass pistol, I call him. And ever since then, it's just bad stuff has happened, and Zim's life has been ruined since the second day of training camp. It was one of those training camps, kind of like the one that got Childress fired. Just everything that could go wrong did go wrong, and it's kind of stayed that way all season. They've had these popped up, and they beat the Packers, and that was a hellacious effort. But beyond that, they're just erratic. And Cousins, I don't think Zim had anything to do with Cousins. That was Spielman and the Wilfs. They wanted him. I don't think Zim was that high. He didn't like Keenum that well either, so he took what he could get. But they are not joined at the hip at all.
The plexiglass pistol.
Right.
I don't know if everybody caught that. I want to make sure everybody caught that. That was a pretty sneaky good line in the middle of that answer, David.
Can we sell shirts?
Remember that when he was going to, he was going to make sure that there was plexiglass when he was having his meetings between. Oh man, you know what? When he came in here, he was pretty arrogant, and then he became like this humble guy. I kind of liked him better when he was arrogant, because that's the real him.
All right, same question then that you just asked yourself. Which PJ Fleck do you like the best?
Well, there's only one, so there are two. There's only the man that is full of it up to his eyebrows, and nothing he ever says is really sincere. So that's PJ Fleck. That there isn't two. There's only one of them. So that's
how'd that first year on the Gophers football beat go for you there?
Oh, me? Yeah, it never happened. They didn't give me the job. I don't know. I was begging to be PJ's beat man. I think we could have developed a special relationship.
Pat, can I ask you though? Because
you know what? I would have paid $500 to be the beat man the day they lost a Bowling Green. I'll tell you.
Well, there's no doubt, Pat. I want to ask you because a little birdie told us down here a long time ago when he was at Western Michigan that don't buy what this guy's selling, and he got the Minnesota job, and it was someone that we knew in the industry down here who had connections and told us that. All right, you just file it away. But Pat, you've been out in front of this. Are you with the people? Are you on your own island? I mean, because he's winning enough there, and he's winning at a rate that they hadn't in a while. So what is the Gopher fan think of PJ Fleck?
Oh, they love him. We love him. We like, we like Brewster at first, and he was even more full of it than this guy. But I don't think I think he can run a fairly decent program. I just can't stand it when he comes out and says this is all on me. So you ask him for some specifics, and he defends himself on everything. So if it's all on you, what did you screw up then? Let's be more specific here. Let's not just throw out that coach cliche and then have us say, well, he took responsibility. No, he did. But he's been okay. He's as far as a program, putting together. Now remember, this was not a traditional change of coaches. The Gophers were 9-4 the year that Tracy Claeys got fired. They fired him because he was fat, basically. So, I'm glad that doesn't happen in the sports writing business.
None of us would work.
A long time ago. But, and they said it was because of the sexual thing that all those guys, nobody ever got convicted on that thing or anything. But he didn't come into the empty, like the Jerry Kill did when he replaced Brewster. It was an absolute circus. He didn't walk into that situation. He was not rebuilding, and I think that's when he and I had a little separation of the ways when he declared his first season to be year zero. That became his cliche that this is year zero for his program. He was building from scratch, which was not exactly the case, but he's fairly popular. There's no doubt about it. I was shocked that they ended up in Phoenix at like the 8th of the bowl games. I thought they'd probably get a little better bowl game than that one, but they get to play West Virginia, so they should get a win. And I don't know. When he re-signed that new contract, I think he managed to convince them that there were these teams, around the country trying to hire him. I don't think anybody was, but he didn't. I'm sure he wouldn't mind being a free agent then because of how many jobs opened up.
PJ and a few other coaches have great agents that have been able to convince ADs that they have other people that are interested in them. We're talking with Pat Reusse of the Star-Trib in Minneapolis. Pat, the reaction locally to Tony Oliva and Jim Cott finally making the Hall of Fame.
Fantastic. Tony, really, I mean, it's not a cliche. He's one of the great guys of all time. He was my favorite player, and then he was my favorite guy to cover, and he's my favorite guy to run into at the ballpark. He's just a good guy. And he was an all-time great hitter until he blew out his knee. See, he's only got eight real high-performing seasons. So it was tough just looking at the raw numbers. But if you saw him play, and after Harold Baines got in, I think that kind of everything changed. It's the kinder, gentler Hall of Fame entry now. And we're all really happy. And I really could never figure out why Jim Cott wasn't in. I've heard it said, well, he wasn't that great. I don't know. He was a workhorse. In 1966, he was 25-7 with 309 innings pitched and would have been the American League Cy Young Award winner, but they didn't have one then. and Sandy Koufax, won the overall Cy Young. And the next year they started awarding 2 Cy Youngs. But Cott was just a horse, and he stuck around, and he's a great guy too. I don't know about you guys. I think he should get the Ford Frick Award at the same time as a broadcaster too. I think he's fabulous as a broadcaster. So, but Tony, everybody's just really delighted because everyone who's ever gone from Minnesota to Fort Myers for spring training and has been to more than 2 games has had their photo taken with Tony. There's 100,000 people with cell phone photos with Tony Oliva from the last 20 years. So it's and forever. He's really a good guy, and we're all happy for him. I know him pretty well. I finally got together with him a couple of days ago, and I said, Tony, I told my wife, how come she doesn't treat me as well as Gordette treats you? And my wife said, because you're not as nice a guy as Tony, is what she said. So and he enjoyed that one. So anyway, he's really good, and we're all happy. And it's everybody's talking about how tough the sports situation is up here. Well, suddenly, the Vikings are mediocre. Okay, that's fine. And a few other things. The Timberwolves are the Timberwolves. They stink. But we got a hockey team up here that's gone insane. They're 18-6-1, kind of out of nowhere, but it looks real, man. And we got this Russian Kaprizov, who's fantastic. It's so good, I might even go watch a hockey game. So.
Wow.
Wow.
Breaking news on Miller and Moulton.
That's the best thing about having spent winters in Fort Myers. No hockey unless I was a real hardcore Everblades fan. But
got that right. He's
yeah.
Pat Reusse, longtime tremendous columnist for the Star Trib, also does podcasts on a regular basis, scorenorth.com. Pat, all the best to you and your family. If we don't talk between now and Christmas and New Year's, happy holidays, stay safe, be well.
All right, gentlemen, thank you. Bye. Pat
Reusse, kind enough to join us once again here on Miller and Moulton. Jim Cott won 283 games. Remember, Blyleven, it took the longest time for him to get in. He was at like 287, 288, and only got in with the very end of the writers being able to vote. Cott, last 5 years of his career, became a situational lefty reliever. Could have stayed a starter and gotten to 300 wins and got an automatic entry, but agreed to change roles. And really, Mark was one of the first situational lefties in baseball.
That is the great Pat Reusse on Miller and Moulton. I could do that every single day. He is something else. Curt Menefee, for the very first time, joins us on the other side. We thank you for listening right here on the Florida Sports Network.
Bring your big mouth to John Smith Subs and indulge in their overstuffed subs with the freshest quality ingredients. Enjoy our famous steak bomb with perfectly grilled marinated sirloin steak topped with provolone cheese, grilled onions, peppers, mushrooms, crispy bacon, juicy tomatoes, and creamy mayo. Boom! Made-to-order crispy fries can be paired with the Gator, the Cuban, the Chicken Bomb, or the Italian. Love local. Eat delicious with John Smith Subs. Find a John Smith Subs location near you today.
The Firestone Grand Prix of St. Petersburg, presented by RP Funding, roars through the streets of beautiful downtown St. Petersburg, February 25th to the 27th. 3-day tickets are on sale now at gpstpete.com. It's fast, fun, family entertainment jam-packed into 3 days. The weekend is highlighted by the NTT IndyCar Series race taking the green flag on Sunday afternoon. It all happens at the Firestone Grand Prix of St. Petersburg, presented by RP Funding, February 25th to the 27th. Visit gpstpete.com now to secure the best seats.
It's been a great start to the NFL season, and it's only getting better at DraftKings, the official daily fantasy partner of the NFL. DraftKings is putting new new customers in the center of the action with a free shot at millions of dollars in total prizes. Get in on the action now. It's simple. Just pick your lineup, stay under the salary cap, and see how your team stacks up against the competition. Feel the NFL action like never before with a free shot at millions of dollars in total prizes. DraftKings is safe, secure, and reliable. And the best part is you can deposit and withdraw your cash whenever you want. Download the DraftKings app now and use code M&M. This week, new customers can get a free shot at millions of dollars in total prizes. Enter code M&M to get a free shot at millions in total prizes with your first deposit. That's code M&M. Only at DraftKings, the official daily fantasy partner of the NFL. Minimum $5 deposit required. Eligibility restrictions apply. See DraftKings.com for details.
You were listening to Miller and Moulton on the Florida Sports Network.
Oh, wow. This little thing that Menefee's doing here, I'm guessing did you see during the whole thing of the Floyd marches and all that when the Genesee County Sheriff in Flint, Michigan there joined the people and said, "What do you want me to do? We want you to walk." Do you remember that video?
Mm-hmm.
That's who started this organization that Menefee's doing the cleats thing for.
The sheriff?
It's basically, I'm just reading the U.S. He's
U.S.
doing
United.
U.S. United was started in November 2020 in Flint when three partners who could blah, blah, blah. Ken, I guess it would Wade Ike, who's a filmmaker, Chris Swanson, who's the sheriff, and Adam Meisel, who is the third co-founder. He's kind of the sounding like the money behind it, if it will be, but that's where this started for what it's worth. Calling us to watch that line, okay? Should be right on time because, like David said, this is his first interview of a day worth of these.
Yeah, I guess he's doing 2 hours worth of interviews were his first.
Awesome.
They said 7 minutes. We'll go 8.
Right. We'll go crazy.
Until
Curt says he's done.
Well,
but I mean, you know what I mean? Like,
right.
Because you know how this goes. They're just standing over him. So David knows, but it's literally there's someone there like in another room or probably in the room here going, gotta go.
He worked in Jacksonville for a while.
Did he?
I don't think long. I think he went from Jacksonville to Dallas, made his bones in Dallas, got a gig in New York, and from New York got the network gig.
You are listening to Miller and Moulton, exclusively on the Florida Sports Network. And now, here's Mark Miller and David Moulton.
It is the bonus hour of Miller and Moulton on the Florida Sports Network. The Florida Sports Network, thanks so much for being with us. 3 hours down, 1 to go. The good, the bad, and the ugly. What's on tap? Today was the day when predictions on Pittsburgh and Minnesota Thursday Night Football, all coming up in just a bit. We're hopeful to talk with Curt Menefee coming up here shortly. And that would be a first-timer for us. We're very excited whenever we can get somebody on for the first time. Hopefully we can do so with Curt Menefee coming up in a moment. But little Thursday Night Football, little what's gone on at the University of Miami this week. It's not just Mario Cristobal, it's a new AD. Dan Radakovich is leaving Clemson, expected to be official later today with the University of Miami. And so that is a Mark, I used the word transformative on Monday because we signed off right before word came out that Mario would, in fact, take the job. And I think we're going to look back, whether they're wildly successful or not, Mark, the fact that the University of Miami has done what they have now done, I don't think you go back from this.
Oh, no. This is what the Miami fan, and I think they're ecstatic because this is all the Miami fans wanted for 2 decades, is for them to be all in. Now, when you say go back, if it doesn't work, do they then quit investing at the level they invest in the football program? It's possible, but I think as long as this current president is here, that they're all in. Again, I know I'm repeating myself, and I don't know why. I know why Miller and Moulton saying it on this coast didn't matter, but I don't know why the Orlando Alzagaris and all of the people that work that coast who have been saying this, Billy Corbin, who's, not only sports, but political and an activist.
Dan Lebitard.
I mean, the list goes on and on and on of prominent Miami people who have said the exact same thing that Kirk Herbstreit said on game day. But for whatever reason, when Herbie said it, it resonated with the president of the university. And as long as this current gentleman is in charge of the university, David, I believe they are all in. We don't know what happens whenever there's a new president. But from this point going forward, yes.
Well, Mark, I've never been a part of this, and I don't think you have either. But the way I understand how the choosing of a university president goes is that the rich and the powerful and the influential end up basically coalescing around a candidate. And I think you could say for 25 plus years that the people who were the rich and the powerful could not, at the end of the day, get their way with who the next university president was going to be. Or once that person became president, that person said, nope, I'm sorry, I'm just not going to do what it is that you want us to do. That's not what I see our priorities. Now there's a University of Miami president, and whether he decided 3 weeks ago when he saw a clip on Twitter, whatever, but has finally decided that University of Miami football and athletics is actually very important to our future.
And I only know about this through an awful story. When the Nasser problem happened at Michigan State and he was found out to be the horrible human being that he was, the president nearly kept her job at Michigan State. In fact, the board all but one voted for her to keep her job. And as an alum, that pissed me off. So much so that I had to investigate as to why and do something I don't like to do, research. And what I found out was the money that school was bringing in to do research grants, to do a lot of really good things, they all believed happened because she invested in the football program. And the football program had gotten to a level with Mark D'Antonio that she was able to go out and get money for whatever she wanted. And they believe at MSU, David, that was 100% done because of the success of the football team. So my long point of this is that Miami, with all the great things, the medical school and everything that's going on there, I think this president actually realized, talked to other presidents, talked to whomever, that the football team can actually enhance the other end of this school.
Correct. And first one in 25 years. I mean, first one since college football has gone big money. And, think about Miami was able to do this. Not to say that they were the little engine that could, but from a resources standpoint, the Canes became the Canes, and they were doing it on a fixed budget compared to everybody else. But when the budgets went to the stratosphere and Miami still said they were going to keep doing it the way we were doing it in the 80s and the 90s, that's why they had fallen behind.
Well, and you're right, David, because you think about it, when they got this going, I mean, I just use it in terms that I can figure out. But when they started this in the early 80s, basically, if you just think about who your richest friend was in the early 80s compared to where you were, what's the gap between you two now? But that's college football, if you know what I mean. The richest guy in the early 80s didn't have to be that rich to be rich. Today, I mean, as we've joked around, David, that $1 million just doesn't get you the same house in Southwest Florida that it once did.
No.
You can get about you can get a 3-2 with maybe a pool these days, it seems.
Right, and a python if you build it in the right area.
We'll get to that later.
Just for Pat Reusse, we'll throw in a python just for good measure. But so I think this is a good thing, not just for Canes sports. I think it's a good thing for the University of Miami. I really do. It's a private school. Private schools have their own challenges going forward. Mark, I don't think it's a coincidence that in the last 12 months, both USC and Miami have made the decisions to go get real ADs that are going to play in the big boy pool, and they went and got big-time coaches to take their above-average football programs and desperately try to restore them to their past greatness.
To think about how difficult it is on that note with USC and Miami doing this, remember, their academic requirements are not that of Notre Dame. They actually looked over at Notre Dame, who had a real AD and just lost a real coach, and we think they've hired another real coach. But you didn't have to look that far if you were Miami or USC. Look at Notre Dame. They're the private school that's getting in the playoff. They're the private school that's winning 10 a year. Why aren't you? Because your setup is actually far easier to be successful than Notre Dame's is. And it's not arguable.
So Dan Radakovich, it's expected, I don't think it's been, quote, officially announced today, but it has been widely reported in the last 12 to 18 hours that Radakovich has, in fact, made up his mind. He's going to leave Clemson. And think about when he took over Clemson. Now, he did not hire Dabo. All right, he left Georgia Tech for Clemson in 2012. But think about what Clemson has become. The football facilities that they have built, the money raised. He started at Miami. He got his master's at Miami. He's 63 years old. I'm sure he's looking at this as his last great challenge of his career. And Mario Cristobal from Miami played there, coached there, family still lives there, wife's family still lives there. I don't know if the University of Miami has had a better week since they won the national championship 20 years ago. Now, this could all not work big. Maybe they still just can't get above where they've been for the last 15 plus years. But I would think that they're going to break through. And I would also think that those who are more than just Canes football fans, for those of you that actually follow the Canes in other sports, I would expect to see a tremendous upgrade and a raise in the level of the other sports too. I think whoever replaces Jim Larrañaga in the coming years is going to end up swimming in a lot more money. And I don't just mean his salary. I'm talking about facilities and what have you. I also think this is going to help the baseball program get back to where it was, which was instead of being a top 20 program, being a top 5 program.
I know you're on the right path with the basketball too, because what's happened in the last 15 years is that Florida's gone from a non-basketball state to being one of the 5 best. Just a complete population shift and IMG being here. Those two things have made Florida basketball light years ahead of where it was a decade ago. And just that alone, the fact that Mike White can't get it done at Florida with the talent that's in this state, and Larrañaga's at the end of his rope, and I think there's going to be a new coach. You and I have talked about that several times. But there's no reason in the state of Florida for those basketball programs to all not be in the top 25. Period. End of sentence.
And when Florida is not in the top 25 next week, none of the 3 will be. Although I have a feeling by the time the year's out, both the Gators and Knowles will be. Miller and Moulton, 13 minutes past the hour. Hope to talk with Curt Menefee. Worst case scenario, good, bad, and ugly. What's on tap? Today was the day when, all 25 minutes away. It is the second Tuesday of December, the 9th of the month. Thanks for listening, Florida Sports Network.
Mark Miller for Orange Whip Golf and Fitness Power Peel at Home Training System. This complete body and swing trainer uses resistant band connection system to fix bad habits and ingrain a more consistent, powerful swing. The Power Peel system is powered by functional golf swing training technology. It trains both your swing and body at the same time. Simply make a few prescribed resistant band connections, and in a few steps on the peel, you'll swing better, feel better, and play better. Use it before your round of warm-up, as your daily fitness routine, or anytime you want to feel and train the swing you've always wanted. Pair the Power Peel with the Orange Whip Golf and Fitness at Home training technology, available with a monthly membership, and maximize your results with Golf Fitness X coach-led programs that take less than 20 minutes a day. Buy the Power Peel training bundle now for 4 interest-free payments of $115 by going to orangewhipgolf.com and use code Miller10. That's code Miller10 to save $45. Go to orangewhipgolf.com and use code Miller10 to save $45 and play better golf. Go to orangewhipgolf.com. You are listening to Miller and Moulton on the Florida Sports Network.
David got his water.
I had an extra one in the fridge. These very muffy and buffy Voss water, glass. This is a glass
Wonderful.
bottle.
That means it's nice and cold the way it should be.
It is very cold. It is 12.7 fluid ounces.
What are you paying for that?
This is free because this was in the Fox meeting room last night.
If it were in your mini fridge, $6 a bottle for
minimum.
Water? Yeah,
minimum. I got to look at the prices as to what stuff's going for in here.
I'll tell you what. Don't ever bring me on the road. I'd live in that lounge room. Holy cow.
Yeah. And this is where we go. The running joke is there's a couple people who have the authority to sign for things. And so the rule is they're supposed to be in the room and sign for whatever. Well, we all just forge their signatures. Okay. And so Rich Reusse happens to be the director of the A team of NFL on Fox. And so we'll literally walk into the control room when we get to the game and we go, "Hey, Reusse, thanks for lunch, buddy."
That's
and
awesome.
He'll go, and he'll be like, "How much?" And we'll look around at one another. We'll go, "Cost you about 80.
David, you saw my text.
Do you know, it was actually one of the things, I don't know if we were going to get to it.
No, he meant about Menefee.
Oh, too busy?
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm surprised because Premier Networks was setting it up.
Yeah.
And
they don't
you signed up and but it's 6 a.m. his time. I mean, I'm almost positive he's out in LA. I was shocked that, the 2-hour window was 6 to 8 a.m. LA time. I'm like, wow, I can't believe he's doing it at this hour. Because, he's got to do Thursday Night Football tonight. Now, I know the game ends at 8:30 LA time and what have you, but still, I was just surprised. I'd want to sleep in today. Yeah. I'm guessing he overslept.
Oh, boy. That's not going to go over well. The Washington Post did a story of the reclusive heiress of Publix who played a strong role in financing the January 6th rally.
Oh.
Publix?
Yeah.
Julie. Julie
Oh.
Fancelli. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
That shouldn't come as a big shock to you. Like,
well,
you gave that Publix? I mean,
yeah.
It's like saying Oaks Farms?
I just want to make sure I heard it correctly.
Okay.
Yeah.
Fair enough.
No, Publix was a big help to Mr. DeSantis in 2018.
We're shopping is a pleasure.
And not that there's anything wrong with that.
No.
But
no, it's like if you want to have a stand down here against Oak, you're sacrificing the best vegetables in town.
Right. But January, January 6th is a whole different ballgame.
Well, because that's like my mom said, Elfie paid for 2 buses to go from Naples to there. Those are facts. Do with them as you will. That's not an opinion by me.
Now, I don't know if everybody who went to that was thinking it was going to then turn into...
Exactly.
But, yeah. But unfortunately...
It did.
It's like showing up at the family dinner and a brawl breaking out. You're like,
where, Adam?
Adam, of a gun.
Where? I mean, I'm serious, Adam. Where?
30.
Where is Winn-Dixie gaining ground on Publix? Where?
Pensacola? Is that what you're saying?
Right. I mean, if Kroger comes down here, then they got a shot. Winn-Dixie?
15 seconds.
All right.
They're the meat people.
Thanks for listening. And now, more of Miller and Moulton on the Florida Sports Network.
19 minutes past the hour. Thanks so much for being with us. Miller and Moulton, Florida Sports Network, the Florida Sports Network. Good, bad, and ugly. What's on tap? Today was the day when, all a little more than 15 minutes away. Thursday Night Football. We'll make our picks coming up near the end of the hour. Mark, you and I can hold a grudge. We usually have a great deal of respect for people who can hold a grudge. I mentioned this story a little earlier. The state senator in Oklahoma.
Oh, boy.
If you missed it. And another reason why it intrigues me, he's a radio broadcaster.
So it's shtick. I saw the story yesterday, and I didn't bring it up because it annoyed me so much. Like, I think it's so petty, so pathetic. I think anybody that works in government that's spending time worried about football coaches should be removed from their job immediately. It's grandstanding. We're benefiting this guy by talking about it. I think he's a punk. I've never seen him. If he was standing in front of me, 6'4", 300, I'd go, you're a punk. I don't know what to tell you.
Do you know what my favorite part of I-75 is? It's that seemingly 100-foot section of highway where you can go through 3 counties. And that's the way that they did it so that all 3 counties can get the same amount of highway funding.
Right. It's the DeSoto, Henry.
Boom, boom, boom.
You go from Lee, DeSoto, Henry, into Sarasota County, all in like an eyelash.
Right. It's like, wait, what? Where? Yeah.
Right. I know of which is.
This is taking that. Anyway, this guy, Bill Coleman, he's Oklahoma State Senator. He's very angry at Lincoln Riley.
Yeah.
As Richard Gere said, in Pretty Woman, I was angry with my father. Bill Coleman, very angry at Lincoln Riley. So since Lincoln Riley left town, Bill Coleman wants to dedicate a very small section of Highway 325, which apparently is in the most remote area of Oklahoma. And it is going from Oklahoma west, because Lincoln Riley went west to USC. And he wants to rename 3 inches. Why 3 inches? I don't know. But the final 3 inches of the highway, he wants to rename it the Lincoln Riley Highway. He is willing to, if the bill passes, pay for any and all signage.
And my first question would be, are you paying for it, or are you doing it with your company? Because he does own a company. He won't pay for it himself. He'll throw it down the company. This is look, it's great radio shtick because he's a radio guy. Great job. But he's a radio guy who happens to be a state politician. And I think that's when it vaults over being funny and being a waste of everybody's time, particularly all the fine people of the state of Oklahoma. See how I did that, David?
Wow. Well done, young man.
Thank you.
Wow.
And when I run for Estero County Commissioner or Estero Village Commissioner, District 5, I can say
hold
things.
Hold on.
When?
Don't you first have to run in your little development there?
Oh, yeah.
Now,
You're right.
Is that happening?
HOA? Yeah.
So that's official. You're running.
Yes.
Okay. I didn't know that it was official.
We just announced it.
Okay.
You're my campaign manager.
Whoa. Hey, now. I don't want to have anything to do with trying to get anyone elected to an HOA. I think they should be done away with, quite frankly. So, remember, I grew up in apartments.
Same thing. They had them there.
Well, yeah, you know what it was called? It was called the super. All right? You called them up and you said, hey, something's not working. When do you think you can get over here? Tuesday. Okay, thanks. That's all. There wasn't a fee. It was included in the rent. If there was a fee, they didn't let us know.
I mean, is he going to name a 1-inch part of highway for the quarterback that was going to Oklahoma that's not going to USC?
What do you do about Spencer Rattler?
Right.
Every transfer. Right. I think we should just devote like a certain section of the highway to the transfer portal and just keep changing the names under it.
Anybody need a punter? I've got Dr. Pepper.
So you think, and you and I are appreciative of a grudge, but I have to admit, this is immature.
This isn't a grudge.
Right.
A grudge takes time, David. You have to develop a grudge. This is just a petulant child throwing a temper tantrum. I mean, that's all this is. This is pat him on the head and say, no. He went to do the real job that he was intended to do. Calm down, do yours. Or go feed the cat, whichever one you want. I don't care.
This also, though, it's no one had ever left Notre Dame voluntarily before, not for a college job. I think did Dan Devine leave to go to the NFL, or did Dan Devine leave the NFL to go to Notre Dame? I always forget how that went. I thought he left the NFL to go to Notre Dame, but no one had ever left Notre Dame to go to another college job before. They just retired, went to the NFL, or were asked to leave. But there are places that we consider to be elite places. And Mark, they're not used to people getting up and leaving them. Wait, you left me for a college job? Yeah. USC's better. What do you mean? There is no better job than this one. Well, there aren't many jobs better than this one, but there are a few, and that's one of them.
Here's the funny thing about Senator Bill Coleman, as I'm on his Facebook page currently. Where on December 5th, he says the fall has been extremely busy at the state capitol. Besides our normal interim studies, attending national conferences, meeting with state agencies, constituents, and other groups, we also had several other things on our plate, and he gets into all they are. None of them seem to involve our Lincoln Riley. And then I see a picture of him at Bedlam dressed in orange with his Oklahoma State stuff on. So again, explain to me why he's doing this other than grandstanding.
Wait a minute.
He's a petulant child, and I'm telling him that on his Facebook page right now.
He's a Cowboys fan?
The picture I see that he posted, here it is. Hope everyone had a wonderful Thanksgiving holiday and got to spend time with family and friends. We had a great holiday that was made even better with OSU's big win this weekend. We are going to miss the fun rivalry and tradition of Bedlam. Go Pokes. Any more you want to talk about Bill Coleman?
Wow. That is just the worst kind of politics. I mean, if you're a fan of a team, don't try to placate the other fan base.
Bingo.
I think you'll gain the respect and you'll get more votes from the other fan base if you look them right in the eye and go, yeah, I root for State.
It's unbelievable.
Wow. Now, you know what, Mark? If this guy called us up and wanted to add us as an affiliate, I'd have to say no.
Oh, that's where you and I differ. I would go on there tomorrow so I could tell everybody in that area what I thought of him. He can join the show for all I care. I'll make fun of him live on air. You're the only boomer sooner I know. If you're listening, call your buddy Bill and see if he's got some time for us.
I could see the bonus hour every day. And Thursdays on the bonus hour, Bill Coleman
to talk
from
about
Oklahoma. That's funny. Miller and Moulton. Good, bad, and ugly. What's on tap? Today was the day when we'll make our picks on the Steelers and the Vikings. A must-win for both. They're both out of the playoffs, but surprisingly really close to being in the playoffs, even though nobody thinks that either is a good team. And that includes their own fans. Miller and Moulton, the home stretch on this Thursday, coming up next on the Florida Sports Network.
It's been a great start to the NFL season, and it's only getting better at DraftKings, the official daily fantasy partner of the NFL. DraftKings is putting new customers in the center of the action with a free shot at millions of dollars in total prizes. Get in on the action now. It's simple. Just pick your lineup, stay under the salary cap, and see how your team stacks up against the competition. Feel the NFL action like never before with a free shot at millions of dollars in total prizes. DraftKings is safe, secure, and reliable. And the best part is you can deposit and withdraw your cash whenever you want. Download the DraftKings app now and use code M&M. This week, new customers can get a free shot at millions of dollars in total prizes. Enter code M&M to get a free shot at millions in total prizes with your first deposit. That's code M&M. Only at DraftKings, the official daily fantasy partner of the NFL. Minimum $5 deposit required. Eligibility restrictions apply. See DraftKings.com for details.
You were listening to Miller and Moulton on the Florida Sports Network.
What a clown.
David, just out of curiosity, do you have a specific NBA play in your today was the day when?
An NBA play. Hold on.
Now it's breaking down plays.
An,
it's
NBA,
not,
an
it's,
NBA moment. It's a
hold
moment.
on.
What is
Hold
the
on.
moment?
Hold on.
If he has the moment, then he has the moment.
Oh, God almighty.
I don't think I have the moment.
I don't. Moment.
I'm fearful of what the moment
I
is.
am so scared right
But
now.
lay it on me. Lay it on me.
T-Mac. 33 seconds, 17
What?
points.
Who?
T-Mac, Tracy McGrady. He scored
Okay, well-
17 points in 33 seconds. Or
Okay.
not seven, or
You don't even know the moment anymore.
no. It's one of the greatest comebacks in the history of sports.
No, it's not.
In the history of sports.
No, it's actually
13 points in 35 seconds.
not. Okay.
December 9th, 2004.
Yeah. First off, there are no great comeback moments in basketball before January 1st. Let me just explain that to you, because there's no games of relevance. Comebacks have great comebacks. You would have to admit that a great comeback does have to be a game of consequence in some sort.
I understand, but he scores 13
No.
points.
I'm just asking you a simple question. A great comeback, yes or no, doesn't it have to be in a game of relevance?
No, it could be in any game.
Okay. All right. Turn your mic off.
I gotta admit, this is we got to get this sponsored.
David, we'd like to get anything sponsored at this point.
Well,
Right now, Adam is spending more on this show than anybody else.
Oh,
And he
that
gave
is
us 3
true.
gift certificates, gift subscriptions today. He gives us money every day. Adam is basically sponsoring this show right now.
Well, that's probably why we answer so many of his comments, because we feel obligated.
That's pretty funny, Adam. I did not see that. Maybe you sink tons of money into the Sam Bradford Highway with no results.
No.
That is really funny. Although at Oklahoma, Sam Bradford did just fine. Until they brought him out for
Until they
another
stayed
year.
1 year too long.
Until they brought him out for another year.
Right. The 25-year-old Mormons from BYU pounded him into the turf. Felipe, I will say, it is a great comeback. Okay. But it is not one that is well known, thought of, regarded. But there's no doubt, like if you had a Magic game today, you would certainly do this day in Magic history, and you would show it, and you'd go, "Oh, wow, that's right."
But I mean, it may be more points than Reggie Miller, but when you talk about short points, the only thing anybody thinks of is Reggie against the Knicks. That was in the playoffs.
I am telling you.
But that was no. Again, what I'm trying to explain to you is if it's not a game of consequence, we're doing this show for everybody. We're not doing this show for diehard NBA fans, particularly diehard Orlando Magic fans. Because outside of that, most people wouldn't know this stat.
And I understand that. But every single NBA fan who is rooting for their team that is down 13 with a minute left says, well, we need a T-Mac now.
No, they don't.
Yes, they do.
No, they don't.
Yes, they
no
do.
one's ever fucking said that.
We need a
the
Tracy
world.
McGrady right
Turn your
now.
mic off. Turn your mic off. Turn it off. You're done for the rest of the show. No more. I can't do it. Can't do it. I'm going to get angry.
Felipe, you should work for NBA radio or NBA TV.
Yep, absolutely.
And I can tell you that the hosts, and because I listen to NBA radio, I can tell you the hosts of NBA radio are not as hardcore as you. And they do it for a living.
I don't even listen to NBA radio.
I'll say that I love the morning show. Now, I don't listen to it anymore. It was one of the great things, Mark, about being laid off for those 2 months. Okay, I swear, I used to drive around and listen to NBA radio, run errands in the morning. 2 sarcastic, one from New York, one from Boston. 2 guys who ripped everyone and everything.
15 seconds.
Got a headache.
You're listening to Miller and Moulton, exclusively on the Florida Sports Network.
25 minutes until we're done on this Thursday, the 9th of December. Thanks so much for being with us. Miller and Moulton, the Florida Sports Network, the Florida Sports Network. Steelers visit the Vikings tonight. Minnesota 3-point favorite. Over-unders 43.5. So basically, Vegas is laying out there for you. 23-20 Minnesota. Bet accordingly.
So McDonough gets the Alabama game, huh? Herbie and Fowler get the Georgia-Michigan game, and we're going to get the McDonough-Blackledge crew for the Bama-Cincy game as they move Michigan and Georgia to the primetime slot.
Right. The quote-unquote A team will go to the game that will get the bigger audience. So I don't know that anyone cares who announces games anymore.
I don't think so. I really don't think so. I will say it can get me to turn a game off. I'm really to the point now, the one broadcast I have a lot of trouble listening to is Steve Levy doing Monday Night Football. And I'm with you. McDonough doing hockey, I can't take.
Ooh,
it's bad.
That is not good.
It's a bad listen. When you listen to a hockey game on ESPN versus a hockey game on TNT, the difference is amazing.
Yeah, Sean McDonough doing baseball, Sean McDonough doing football, Sean McDonough doing basketball.
Right.
Outstanding.
He's terrific.
Hockey? Nope. Tough to be good at everything. And he does hockey like he's doing baseball. And that's tough.
It's funny if you follow, and David and I, we try not to bring up Twitter as much as we used to because Twitter is a media place. It is interesting because I think, my Levy thing is what a lot of Twitter people are with Gus. I think Gus is liked far more by the fans than he is by the media.
Yes, absolutely. And
like,
I think
Philly's not media yet. So, you know what I mean? Like, Philly's just entering this business. He loves Gus. When he comes on games, how many media people do you see? Well, time to hit the mute button. It's crazy.
It is time for...
Leave it to the oldest guy in the show, and definitely the oldest soul, to live in the past. Here's David Moulton with Today Was the Day When...
Going to go all the way back to 1854. Tennyson. Alfred. Wrote a little bit. His most famous work, you could argue, was the poem of The Charge of the Light Brigade. It was published today in 1854. He wrote the poem a mere 6 weeks after the failed Charge of the Light Brigade by the British against the Russians. Mark, it was on this date in 1926 that the USGA legalized steel shaft golf clubs.
What year?
26. They've been around for 95 years.
And right after that, there were plenty of articles out there how this was going to ruin the game. The ball was going too far, and we had to get back to the hickory shaft. It was the end of golf as we knew it.
That old and young Tom Morris were rolling over in their graves. Correct.
Senior and junior.
The Johnny Miller of 1926, was saying that old Tom and young Tom were both rolling over in their graves.
People mocking Sorensen for hitting the clubs. I mean, it was terrible. It was just
awful. Bobby Jones is a fraud. Right.
May be funny to just us and 10 people in the golf industry, but I hope you enjoyed it.
The very first Heisman Trophy was awarded today in 1935. And I think by now many people have forgotten who won it. Little running back out of Chicago named Jay Berwanger. Just 2 days after being bombed at Pearl Harbor, we didn't have a whole lot going for us, but we wanted to show everyone that, hey, we're in this to win it. The U.S. bombed the Philippines on December 9th, which was no small task considering what happened on the 7th. It was in 1949, Mark, that this football league known as the AAFC had some teams merge with the NFL. I mean, the NFL is not a whole lot bigger than the AAFC in 1949. But the Cleveland Browns, San Francisco 49ers, and Baltimore Colts all became members of the National Football League on this date in 49. 1965, on this date, CBS airs the first ever Peanuts animated special, A Charlie Brown's Christmas.
Terrific then, David. Terrific now.
I agree.
Far and away the wife's favorite, so I'm obligated by law to agree with her on this one.
56 years, and I think it holds up.
Wow, it's the same age as you?
Yeah, it was.
Look at that.
It was 10 days before me. Yep.
Merry Christmas, Charlie Brown and David Moulton.
It was on this date in 67, Mark, that Jim Morrison arrested on stage in New Haven, Connecticut.
Oh, this is the one where he was this the one where he was, because he was arrested in Miami. That was when he may have pulled it out. But New Haven is the backstage one, right? With the girl or something like that.
Well, but he was arrested on stage.
Right.
First time ever in U.S. history that a performer was arrested on stage during a live performance. Okay, Morrison arrested and charged with disturbing the peace.
Right, because he was fooling around with the girl. He got maced by a cop who said he shouldn't have been backstage, and then he taunted the entire police force on stage for doing it when they arrested him.
If you ever hear about the bad days of New York City, New York City was bankrupt once. Yeah, it was called the mid-'70s, and it was on this date in 75 that President Ford signed a $2.3 billion loan for New York City to keep New York City afloat. Yes, that's right. A major city was bailed out. So this has been going on for a while, folks.
Oh, maybe instead of sending everybody to space, we could use some of that money to bail us out right now. I don't know.
It was on this date in 1982 that the WBC becomes the first boxing governing body to reduce championship fights from 15 to 12 rounds. I believe
this was all because of the Duck fight, right?
Ray Mancini, Dooku Kim, yes.
Right.
Saturday afternoon on CBS, a 15-round fight, and it was a brutal fight. And Mancini got the better of it at the end, knocked out Dooku Kim, I believe, in the 14th round, and he never regained consciousness, and he died. And because it was on national television, and remember, it's 82, there's 3 networks. So there's a few people watching on a Saturday afternoon a boxing match. And the sport was changed forever. WBC on this date in 82, first to reduce their championship fights. I believe the WBA was last. Mark, it was on this date in 85, Jerry Rice begins one of the great streaks that never gets talked about in sports history. He began a streak of 274 consecutive games with a catch. That's over 17 years.
Wow.
With a catch in every game.
Wow.
Yeah.
Just wow.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
I'll go all Bill Clement there. That's all I've got for you, David.
It was on this date in 1990, Lech Walesa, elected president of Poland.
He would be Time Man of the Year in another couple of weeks, and that was a big deal back then.
Yes, it was. It was on this date, I'll fast forward, 2013, the Bears retired Ditka's 89 in Chicago on the same day that the late Roy Halladay retired. And Baker Mayfield won his Heisman on this date just 4 years ago. Boy, he's been talked about a lot in those 4 years, hasn't he? Man.
He really has.
Birthdays on this date, Mark. Dick Butkus is 79.
He's
greatest greatest.
He could still play a third down for somebody.
You know,
I don't think the knees would let him, but you know what I mean.
he might be the best middle linebacker in NFL history.
I just remember hearing stories from my father when he played, and you know, everybody's I think now heard him, is that he would just stand over the center and spit down the back of his neck.
Tom Kite is 72. I never had a good encounter with Tom Kite, ever. TV, radio, it's never gone well. Don't know what it is.
Was never a fan, so I'm actually happy to hear that. It kind of justifies what I've had in my brain for 45 plus years.
You know, the first time, friend of the show, Curtis Strange, that I ever ran into him, I was covering a PGA Tour event in 91, and I tried to do a story about golf fashion. Curtis was and everybody said, oh, don't go talk to Curtis Strange. He's serious. He's not going to enjoy this. And so I went up. He was amazing. He was so funny. He started naming golfers, in which he's like, oh, this guy, you know, wears this. And, you know, started talking about how tight Jim Thorpe's pants were. Okay, so I tried the same thing with Tom Kite, and I thought he was going to take out a 7-iron and beat me.
Surprise, surprise. Go put on another pair of plaid pants, Tom.
World Be Free. Felipe, look him up.
Yeah, you want to go watch YouTube videos? Go watch World Be Free videos
I
today.
know about World Be Free.
There you go. With that release point and those rainbow jumpers.
Not sure why he jumped on a microphone there. He's still in the penalty box.
World B is 68. Juan Samuel is 61. I don't know why I picked Juan Samuel out. I just did. I always liked him when he was the Phillies. Sucked as a Met. Loved him with the Phillies. Kurt Angle is 53. Peter Nedved and Todd Van Poppel are both 50 today. I just like the name, Todd Van Poppel.
All right.
And Marty Fish, who grew up not too far where I am here in Minneapolis. He grew up in a suburb of Edina. Marty Fish is 40 today. And that, Mark, is today was the day when.
All I've really got for you on a little bit of a missing thing, and I don't think I heard it, Donny Osmond, born today in 1957, and also Jacob Dylan, son of Bob Dylan, lead singer from the Wallflowers, is 52 today.
How old's Donny Osmond?
Born in 57, so
wow. It makes you real
for
those.
Right? Did I do that right?
57? Yeah, 64.
74.
64.
64. There you go. I had it right the first time.
Wow. You know what it makes you realize, for those old enough to remember the Donnie and Marie show, just how young they were when they were doing it.
Right.
I don't even know. Yeah, right. He was a little rock and roll.
Thank you.
But I mean, she was definitely a teenager, and I don't even know if he was 20. They gave him a variety show, for goodness sakes. Everybody complaining about television today. Hey, when there were only 3 networks, they were struggling to fill 3 hours a night. Don't kid yourself.
That then leads us to...
You've heard folks elsewhere mock Florida is gonna Florida. Well, Mark Miller sees it differently. He calls it the good, the bad, and the ugly. What you got, Mark?
Looks like I did something with my good. So let's just do a bad, and ugly.
Wow.
What the hell happened? I had it here. Somehow it went away. All right, we'll start in Florida. This is our kind of bad because it has a Reusse feel to it, where a man bought a brand new couch in Clearwater. Couch delivered to the house. 5-foot python came with the couch to the house.
Oh, you got to send this story to him.
Clearwater police were able to get the python out, and it was taken to a local pet store after being plucked from the couch.
You imagine sitting, you put the couch in your living room, you sit down on it, and all of a sudden a python starts crawling on your couch?
I laugh even harder because they brought over the police to do it, and the police officers, 2 ladies, are showing with the, grabbing the snake, smiling, holding the python. I don't know. When you're a guy and you call because a snake's in there and 2 female cops come act like it's a little racer in the house, I just think that's kind of funny.
I would lose my
Oh,
mind.
I know.
If there was a camera on me and I was that guy on the couch and all of a sudden I looked over and a python was starting to crawl on me, oh my goodness.
For the bad, we literally go about 4 miles from where I am sitting. Why road rage? And I'm used to be bad at it. Why I try to look forward and not even look at anybody anymore. A woman had someone pull out in front of her. She braked. She changed lanes. She went around him, probably looked at him, doesn't say that, probably looked at him, might have even flipped him off, might have done something, and then got in front of him.
Okay.
So when they were at the intersection, the guy gets out of the car, walks up to her window, and John Blumenshine knocked on the window and said, "I'm going to blow your head off," as he had a gun in his hand.
Whoa.
That's in our backyard, folks. That was at the corner of Corkscrew and 3 Oaks Parkway. Be safe, people.
That is not funny.
Finally, the ugly, we go to the post office, David.
Hey, come on.
Oh, no,
now.
no. From Chicago is where this story comes. Postal worker on the west side bangs into a car, then just drives off. A year later, the family still has not had any luck in getting damages paid for by the post office. They've had to go to the local CBS affiliate and try to put it on their, little live shot of sticking up for the citizen.
Right.
Postal worker, when hit the car, told the family, "Do what you got to do." Guy said, "My grandmother has him on camera." He goes, "Oh, well, do what you got to do."
Okay.
$1,400 in damages, still no action from the Postal Service. I want to sound surprised, but that would be impossible because after all, David, it's the Postal Service and they should be shut down. That is the good, the bagly on today, December the 9th, 2021.
I still love me a post office, but
You and
just
my
not
wife.
that one.
You and my wife, she loves to send birthday cards to people.
Makes people happy. Remember how happy you were in college? You got mail. Hey, somebody's thinking of me. Somebody loves me. I know most of you don't care, but admit it, when you get something in the mail and it's not a bill, you go, huh, how about that? And your mood perks up. That's all I'm saying.
All right. Fair enough.
Are you going to play the percentages and go with the Steelers?
I'm taking the Steelers tonight. I actually think the Thielen being out is going to be a big deal.
I agree with you on that. I'm going to go with the Vikings, despite them having more guys out with injuries, because, well, quite frankly, the week after playing the Ravens is not easy, and it's a short week at that on the road. And we do like the under, though, right? The under's like covered all but once on a Thursday night here this year. So under 43.5 is probably the best percentage play.
I'm with you, but I will take the under and the Steelers in this one. David, looking forward to tomorrow just to see how much snow is on the ground in Minneapolis.
Oh, I'm terrified. I think I'm going to be stuck. Miller and Moulton. Thanks.
Bring your big mouth to John Smith Subs and indulge in their overstuffed subs with the freshest quality ingredients.